The NLL season is almost over, but the box lacrosse world is just starting to wake up. Finals are officially here. The pressure is insane. Legacies are about to be made. And at the exact same time, Junior B is already underway in Ontario. The OJLL teams are getting ready to open their seasons. MSL and WLA camps are starting to heat up, and summer box lacrosse is about to take over again. And honestly, this is the best time of the year if you're a hardcore box lacrosse fan, because there is lacrosse everywhere right now. The NLL playoffs, Junior Lacrosse League starting up, summer senior lacrosse right around the corner. Senior Bs are absolutely loaded with ridiculous talent. The transition from the NLL season to summer box season is officially happening. So today we're breaking down the NLL, making predictions, talking about everything happening across the lacrosse world right now. And later in the episode, I'll be joined by Jake Henhawk from the Creators Game podcast, and now officially Lacrosse Classified's new co-host. We'll be talking summer lacrosse, growth of the game, everything happening across the box lacrosse world right now. Let's get right into it. Welcome back. My name is Jake MacDonald. I'm Anything Lacrosse, and this is the game that never sits still. As always, follow all the socials, join the Discord. Great place to be. Lots of great people in there, always talking, and it's a great time, especially right now because we have a lot of active Halifax fans in there, and there's also a lot of active Toronto Rock fans in there. Super excited for this week. We have our guest. I told you guys I was out fishing for some guests, and we've got a big one. So I'm bringing Jake Henhawk on the podcast today to just go over talk. I say this about a lot of my guests, but I could have legit talked to Jake all day. Super nice guy. First time I've ever met him, and honestly, I just made probably a friend for life, to be honest with you. Such a great guy, super knowledgeable, and just a very super common sense kind of guy. My kind of guy when it really comes down to it, to be honest with you. I like him a lot. And he was nice enough to come on, and he'll be back on the show as well. As well as I just found this out today. He is now the new co-host of Lacrosse Classified. So you guys know I'm a big fan of that podcast as well as his other podcast, Creator Game. You know, he's in a lot of different things. He can talk. He's very, very intertwined with this game. He's he's a really good guy. So we'll get into the interview with him in a little bit here. I'm going to as always, we'll go through my two topics that I talk about every podcast. I always pick two topics to talk about, and we will also we'll be going over what happened this last week. We'll be talking about predictions for the final. And we'll be going over the three games that obviously happened. And I will be going into the MSL, the WLA, and all the junior leagues as well. Okay. So we're going to be going through everything like that. I'm going to try to run through the rosters. If whatever I can find, I'm going to pull up for you guys, and anything else that comes out, I'll go on their socials and piece it all together. Okay. So with all that being said, there's lots of movement all the time. Now, okay, I'm going to do one quick topic before we get into here, because today we got a lot to go over. So I'm going to just run through one quick topic this episode. And the topic is, I want to talk about the streaming service that I've seen for Flow Sports. Now I have to get it. I haven't got it yet. I have not got it yet. But with that being said, I'm going to be getting Flow Sports. So I'll be going to do that, because I'm going to be watching as much MSL as I can and as much WLA as I can. I'm going to be watching as much lacrosse as I can. I'll be going down for at least a week in the summer to do some in-person stuff as well at the ILAs. So leave me a comment if you guys want me to see if there's any arenas that I think you're like, you have to go see a game here. Let me know, because that's basically what I would love to do, is just like, if I can do a couple games, like 2 or 3 games while I'm there, I think that'd be sick, honestly. So, and definitely a Chiefs game. I definitely want to see a Chiefs game. It's nothing to talk about there. Yeah. So with all that being said, so basically I just wanted to give a quick little, quick topic about Flow Sports. From what I've seen, it looks like it's going to be a good positive partnership. And that's wild, honestly. Okay. All right. Yeah. So Flow Sports is partnerships. This is from April 7th, 2026 here. So we've got a 5-year media deal with with MSL now here to broadcast this. So this is amazing. And they're also going to do the OLA, which is really good too. I'm always big on, you guys know this, like if they can just get it out there to hockey fans, especially that don't have anything to watch, because I was one of those guys. Like this is what it is. Like I was one of those people that would watch the game and not have anything after hockey. And like this is what I mean. If in summer for fights and stuff is, from what I understand, is way more. Now, the only thing I do understand about summer that kind of sucks, I think, a little bit is sometimes guys just won't you don't really know who's going to be playing sometimes. Like, you might show up and think a star is going to be there and then he just takes the night off. So that's the only thing that I have heard kind of a downside about summer in that sense. But I'm pumped for summer this year. Now, this is, like I said, I watched the Man Cup last year and I watched the Minto last year. But that's basically like my summer. That's all I know about summer, really. Because at that point, I really wasn't I just wasn't into this deep into it. So now this year I'm going to be watching all summer, covering all that stuff, and we're going to go into this in a minute. So let's go through all the games here, okay? So this weekend we had 2 games for Saturday. Both of them were we had 2 games for Halifax versus Georgia and 1 game Toronto versus San Diego. As always, the thing that sucked was they were on at the same time. A little bit of a overlap, obviously. You got to see the first half roughly before Toronto started, but still not ideal. But it is what it is. This is what I'm, just gonna roll with the punches. Personally, on a Saturday, I don't think it would have hurt Halifax to have that game at 4:00 in the afternoon. Right? That's just me. That's just my opinion. Right? And then you could have went back because it's Saturday. It would have been awesome too because the bars would have been pumping. So anyway, let's talk about this game. So this was Saturday, May 9th. Georgia beating Halifax 21-10. 10,000 in attendance. So packed barn. Right. This was amazing. You had Georgia pumped out the goals. 5 in the first, 6 in the second, 5 in the third, and 5 in the fourth. And Halifax 2 in the first, 5 in the second, 1 in the third, and 2 in the fourth. And it's just, honestly, it was just Georgia all game pretty much. Just came out pumping. And Halifax did try to fight back a little bit, especially in that second quarter, sorry. But the second quarter, the second half, they came out flat. And it was a rough game for Halifax. All the way around, in my opinion. Georgia just went and went and went. And you had, like, Shane Jackson put up 10 points for Georgia, 3 goals, 7 assists. Lyle Thompson, a big 9-point game, 4 goals, 5 assists. Caleb Benedict, 3 goals, 6 assists for 9 points as well. Brian Cole for a goal and 5 assists for 6 points. Nolan Byrne with 4 goals and 1 assist for 5 points. Richie Connell with 2 goals, 1 assist for 3 points. Then you had Weidman with 3 assists. Henrique with 2 goals. Keen Moon and Jordan McIntosh with a goal and an assist each. And you had Hickey, Manley, and Brett Dobson all with 2 assists that game. And then Ben Trumbull and Liam McGrath had an assist each. And I just want to count you this, guys, okay? They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rookies in this game. This is a young, hungry team that just went up, put up 21 on Halifax. Okay, that is impressive. I know, like, spoiler alert, they didn't make it, but I'm telling you, man, wow, what a way to try to go into Halifax and to do that to them. That's impressive. That is impressive. So flowers to them. Brett Dobson, we're gonna go into this in a minute too, but won the MVP, won the goalie of the year, and absolutely earned it, deserved it, all that stuff. So on the other side, Halifax still, though, you had Clarkie Peterson with 9 assists, Cody Jameson with 2 goals, 5 assists, 7 points, Jason Knox with 4 goals, Mike Robinson with 2 goals, 1 assist, Casey Wilson with a goal and an assist. You had Terafenko with 2 assists, Brandon Bomberry with a goal, Trevor Smith with an assist, and in the faceoffs, you had Jake Withers getting 80% in the draw there, so absolutely killing it there. But again, it doesn't really matter most times. And then you had Brett Dobson he played most of the game, 55 minutes, and had an 83 save percentage, 53 shots, 44 saves. Still absolutely lights out in this game. And then Warren Hill had a rough night, played just a little over half the game, 29 shots, 29 shots, 17 saves, and he had a 58 save percentage, and Hutchinson also had a 59. So really not a great night for either one of the goalies. It is what it is, though. That's the nice thing when you go in and when you win, you give yourself that little bit of an advantage. And then we had game 3. So we're going to go into game 3 here. Toronto beating San Diego 14-8. only 5,263 people. And I've talked about this before about the attendance. Toronto needs somebody in there to go pound that pavement and knock on those businesses' doors. Feel free to hire me. I would love to do that, work on a commission basis, and just go pound on the doors and just say, hey guys, like, you know, there's a Toronto Rock team here, the lacrosse team here that, you know, we're trying to get the building filled. It holds this many people, and we want to try to get it packed in there. And we're looking at local businesses to try to, you know, support the team and buy a season's tickets. Fucking, you can get season tickets for $350, $400 for cheap seats. You get 9 home games for that. It's a great atmosphere. Music pumps the whole time. You go in there and you know what I mean? You just sell it like that. I'm pretty sure, I'm not a tax professional, but I'm pretty sure if you give away 50% of the tickets, you can write the tickets off. So as a business expense, I mean, come on. If I can do that next year for me, I'm doing it. I'm buying that. I'm buying season tickets to Halifax next year, no matter what. Toronto is like, it's not enough. So I'm expecting this next round, because they're going to the finals, obviously. And 14-8, buddy, for Toronto, big win. So anyway, the attendance is an issue, right? So starting off, you had San Diego getting 1 in the first, 4 in the second, 1 in the third, and 2 in the fourth. And Toronto had 4 in the first, 0 in the second. So San Diego was up at half. And then Toronto came out second half, 5 in the third, 5 in the fourth. Absolutely killing it. And near the end there too, it was just like boom, boom, boom. Like it just felt like they were just going in for Toronto a lot. So you had in San Diego, you had Zach Currier with 3 goals, 3 assists for 6 points. You had Connor Robinson with 3 assists. You had Wesley Berg with a goal and an assist for 2 points. You had Ben McIntosh with a goal, and you had as well as Trey Leclerc, Arias Stahanis, Trevor Baptiste got a goal as well. And then you had Noah Armitage with an assist. Baptiste only went 55% in draw, which is weird off for him a little bit, but Roulette played. I'm really impressed with Roulette, actually. So Sam English on the other side had 15 loose balls, first off. 2 goals, 3 assists for 5 points. CJ Kurtz had 2 goals, 2 assists for 4 points. Huge goals in the second half to really push them over the edge. Hugh Kellier with 2 goals, 1 assist for 3 points. Mark Matthews with a goal and 2 assists for 3 points. Brad Cree with a goal and 2 assists for 3 points. Owen Hiltz with 2 goals, as well as Chris Boucher. Then you have Dan Craig with a goal and assist. Josh Jackson with a goal and assist. You had Hostroff, I can't even say that name. Billy Hostrosser for 2 assists. Groves with 2 assists. Josh Dahlwick for an assist. And Jalen Rogers for an assist. We'll say this playoff series, Josh Dahlwick's been a little bit quiet. He has had a couple big goals, don't get me wrong. But overall, I found him to be a little bit quiet. That just might be me. I don't know. But just my opinion. Then we had Dunkerley was in net. Riggs is still out. Probably more precautionary and stuff like that. I mean, concussions are no joke, right? So young. I think he's only like 23, if I'm not mistaken. I hope that he has full recovery and he's back full healthy next season, because I've got a little bit of love for San Diego over this season, to be honest with you. As much as I was a hater, I've learned to like really respect this team and like this team. So anyway, he had 46 shots, 33 saves for a 71.7 save percentage. Not a great night. And then Nicky Rose, 61 shots, 53 saves for an 86.9 save percentage. Nicky Rose has had an amazing season. It feels like it's his season for me, for whatever reason. So there you have it. There's Toronto game. Toronto's moving on to finals. And then finally we had Halifax beating Georgia with their bonus home game, 15-11. And this was a travesty. 7,482 attendance, not sold out. Definitely could tell. But I think this was just a Sunday game. Not a lot of notice, obviously, stuff like that. And I think that's all that really happened here, to be honest with you, because it was a game 3 and it was an important game. I think that it was just kind of one of those things that was, it does show timing will make a difference. But I just think a little bit that was an issue, was basically that I just don't think they had a lot of time. And I don't know if people just thought Halifax. A lot of people thought Halifax was going to sweep, right? So you've got Georgia getting 6 in the first, 2 in the second, 0 in the third, and 3 in the fourth, and Halifax getting 7 in the first, 2 in the second, 2 in the third, and 4 in the fourth. So really, this was a tight game. Halifax just kind of squeaked them out the second half a little bit. Third quarter was a big quarter for them, but very even game all the way over. Very even game, honestly. And this could have easily went the other way. Brett Dobson, both goalies not overly, I don't want to say they weren't great, but they weren't overly like They weren't in that 80% kind of thing where they normally have been all season. So you had Shane Jackson getting 3 goals, 3 assists for 6 points. Lyle Thompson getting 4 assists for 4 points. Brian Cole getting 2 goals, 1 assist, as well as Eccleston for 3 points. You have Caleb Benedict getting 3 assists. Richie Connell getting a goal and assist. Jacob Hickey getting a goal and assist, as well as Kaysen Turbell. You got Weidman getting 2 assists. Keen Moon getting a goal. Henrique getting an assist. And you could really see the not having Nolan Byrne in here is a massive loss. And to be honest with you, this probably would have went the other way. If Nolan Byrne was in this game, I truly do believe this would have went the other way. I do. And I love Halifax, right? I'm a big Halifax guy, but I just think that Nolan Byrne would have got a couple. The kid's just amazing. And I wouldn't be surprised to see him win Rookie of the Year. I think it's going to be cursed. Don't get me wrong. If he gets voted Rookie of the Year, considering he didn't have the support staff, like the support around him, like CJ Kurz does, you can argue that argument that, really not having that guy there. I mean, you have Lyle, don't get me wrong. Lyle seemed a little bit slow this season. Don't get me wrong, still amazing player. But when you look at Toronto's roster compared to Georgia's roster offensively, it's a lot of young pieces in Georgia, where it's a lot of a mixed bag in Toronto. Toronto has the exact team you want, I think, in my opinion, to go win a championship. You have the veteran leadership that's still really good. You have the rookies, and then you got the good goalie. Halifax is the same build-up, to be honest with you. But I just think with the way Brett Dobson was playing, like, I know he had a little bit of a down game this game a little bit, but so did Warren Hill. This was just an intense game. And I do think that it would have made that much of a difference, honestly. So on the other side of things, you got Clarky Peterson with another 9-point game. Huge. 2 goals, 7 assists for 9 points. You got Jason Knox with 3 goals, 3 assists for 6 points. Cody Jamieson for 2 goals, 3 assists for 5 points. Randy Stotts with the goal and 4 assists with 5 points, which is also huge on the Halifax side of things to get Randy Stotts back for that game. You got Mike Robinson with a goal and 3 assists for 4 points. Brandon Bonberry with 2 goals, as well as Bo Hunter, which there's a lot of, he's there's nepotism here, all that stuff. I don't think there is. And when I see him do stuff like this, I'm like, I like this kid. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. You got Casey Wilson with a goal and assist. You got Ryan Terfenko with a goal and assist. Jake Withers with 2 assists. Graham Hosak with an assist. Colby Armstrong with an assist, as well as Roman Church. So there you have it. And on the goalie side of things, you had Brett Dobson, 57 shots, 43 saves for a 75 save percentage. And then you had Warren Hill for 48 shots, 37 saves for a 77.1% percentage. So absolutely huge, really, really good. And this could have, like I said, went either way. So anyway, very, very interesting final. We've got Toronto versus Halifax. Like I said, at the beginning of the season, I called Halifax and Saskatchewan in the final. I thought that was going to be it. And to be honest with you, if Toronto didn't get Saskatchewan, I think they would have pushed their way through. I really do believe that. Unfortunately for Saskatchewan, Toronto did get the final. And here we are. So we got Toronto Halifax final. Now, personally, this is my dream final, because I love these teams. And I've been rocking with the Rock all through the playoffs. I chose them as my playoff team. To be honest with you, the really reason I didn't choose Halifax was because I was like, there's no way they're getting by Vancouver. After the first half, they didn't look like they were, and they came back and pulled off probably one of the best comebacks you'll ever see in this sport. So I'm torn here, to be honest with you. And if any of the OG listeners remember this, I said at the beginning of the season, when I was doing what team I was going to cheer for, I said, whoever wins the Toronto Rock, Halifax Thunderbirds game, when they play this year, that'll be it. And funny enough, it came and went, and I just didn't feel right about picking the winner. So I said before the game happened, I said, I'm going to wait till playoffs, and I'm going to, I'm going to pick my team, and then we're going to run with it like that. And I was like, that'll be a fun way to pick a team. And I figured it would take me a few years to actually get a team. Well, here I am now, sitting with fate in front of me. And I think that, to be honest with you, on this, I'm this conceited. But you got Halifax and Toronto, my 2 teams all season, right? I said Halifax would be 14-4 at the beginning of the season. I said they would be in the finals. Here they are. They weren't 14-4, but if they would have won those games that they lost by 1 goal, 6 of those, that would have put them at 14-4. And they came closer than people credit them for. They're a veteran team. They're the closest team to me currently, all that stuff. And I love the swagger. I love the native, like my wife's native. I love I love the native culture that this team brings. I also love the East Coast culture that this team brings. Heave away when they play it. Just the East Coast atmosphere when you're in there. You got to be I think you have to go to a game to understand what I'm talking about, but it's very East Coast energy mixed. It's like an East Coast kitchen party with like the native culture in there. It's really cool. I love it. So I love Halifax. Right? Part of me is like, damn, I should have jumped on the Halifax bandwagon at the beginning of the playoffs. I just didn't want to be out the first round. That's the truth of it, right? And at the end of the day, because of where we're at, anything can happen in sports, especially lacrosse, and Halifax in the finals. With that being said, like I should. So anyway, but now Toronto. I've said this so I've talked up Halifax. Now let's talk up Toronto for a minute. Toronto, I've said this when Toronto is firing, and everyone laughed at me. Everyone laughed at me when I said this. Toronto is firing on full cylinder. When their veterans are firing, playing at their top level, when their rookies are playing at their top level, and when Nick Rose is on, there is no better team in this league. And they are sitting in the finals right now. And exactly what I said has happened throughout most of these games in the playoffs. There was one. They had one basically off game. Other than that, they have been absolutely electric and absolutely won their way to the finals. And this is where we're at. I don't think there's anybody that would really guess this, right? At the beginning of the season, during the off season, all this stuff, especially where Toronto was sitting last year. Like Halifax made it to the semis last year. Toronto didn't make the playoffs and they're sitting in the finals. They finally got over the hump of the Buffalo Bandits. Now, did they do it? Did they beat them? No, but that's okay. Sometimes that's the way the cookie crumbles. So Toronto is in the finals. They haven't been able to get past the Big Bad Bandits yet. That's okay though. We're sitting here. So now I'm torn. I'm like, I'm obviously, I rode with I want them to win. Don't get me wrong. I love this team. I grew up in Hamilton, right? Like I said, they have an exciting future. They have the second overall pick, I think, this year. They've got some young guys coming up. They got Ty English coming up with Sam English. Look how good Sam English has been. You got Ty English. A lot of people say he's better than Sam from at least last year. That's what they're saying. I'm going to see what's going on now pretty much, but he's coming to play in Toronto next year. You got the second overall pick this year, which is going to be a really top player as well, because this draft is deep, and maybe you might be Spallina get there depending on how everything works out. And we'll see what happens. We'll see. So now a lot of people say Toronto's going to sweep. I don't know about that. Halifax could sweep both games. Like, this is the funny thing about the series. Either team win. I don't know who's going to win. This is a toss-up. I'm going to give Toronto the edge. I will say that. I'm going to give Toronto the edge strictly because they have 2 home games. And it's one of those things that they're probably going to take it. Now, I will say, I can go into Toronto game 1 and beat Toronto in Hamilton, and then come back home to Halifax. It's going to be really hard. And I will say, shout out Jake for pointing this out to me. Jake, Mr. Henhawk it's not really going to be a home game for Toronto. Like, let's be real. Like, they put 5,500. I could easily see them doubling what they did last. Like, I could see 14,000 fans in there possibly. If they do that with Halifax the way it is, all the Six Nation guys over there that are going to be going in, all their fans, you might see this house get packed, and you might see a swarm of orange in there and purple, rather than like Toronto. And so this is where it gets interesting. This is where it gets good. Okay. Now I'm going to make a statement here. Now it's these two. Let's be real, guys. When you look at it, I thought Oshawa was in the calling. That's why Oshawa broke my heart this year, which I would talk about more in the offseason when I go through giving every team a report card. But Oshawa broke my heart this year. But anyway, I digress. Halifax was a roller coaster. It feels very, very... I feel like I should be a Halifax fan, to be honest with you. If I was picking right now based on how I'm feeling, I would be a Halifax fan. Now, with that being said, I ride with the teams that I say, and I love Toronto. Like I said, Toronto is my hometown team, and I grew up in Hamilton, lived there for a decade, and I love Hamilton. And it's the only team that I ever knew before I even got into lacrosse was the Toronto Rock, right? So with that being said, I said if whatever team I pick in the playoffs for the playoff run, if they win the championship, that'll be my team forever. Tattoo on my arm, the whole 9 yards, done in that city. Okay, that's what I said. And we're down to arguably my 2 favorite teams that I've been going back and forth. So this is it, boys. Whoever wins this championship is going to be my team. I am rocking with the Rock. Okay, we're rocking with the Rock. That's the team that's the jersey I'll be rocking the whole time. Halifax wins though, man. I'm their fan. Now, I won't be like, I can't celebrate the win like I would normally. Like, I'm going to be happy for them, all that stuff. But that's going to be my team, bro. That will be my team if they win. If Toronto wins, that's my team. So this is it. This is for my fandom. It seems like fate's brought me here, guys. And I'm going to do whoever wins this series, whoever wins the championship. I think it's a toss-up, honestly. I really do. I think either team could win. It's going to be really who shows up. And I think that there's legacy games on the line. I think all these guys want championships. I think, like, and this might be one of those years that it's their only shot, their window. I think Toronto, I don't know, man. Both these teams are weird. Like Halifax, the way they're I was saying they were rebuild. They need a rebuild after this, but after the new information I'm getting, I'm way off that. It's more of a retool. 100%. 100%. Gotta say that. It's more of a retool than a rebuild at this point, and they're already in the midst of it. They have such great draft prospects. They I've been told by somebody close to I've been told by somebody close to the team that these guys got 8 years left. Like Randy Stotts and Cody Jamieson have 8 years left. Now I think that's a little bit of a stretch, but from what I understand, they're not done playing anytime soon. So with that being said, that's where I was thinking. I was like, oh, these guys are probably almost done. And that's why I was talking about a rebuild at first. These guys aren't done. Okay. So until they're out of the picture, and the way they have Clark Peterson, who's just elite at 28 years old, and then they got their next group of guys going to be coming in. So you never know, man. Halifax just seems to be competitive every year, year in, year out. They're a great team to cheer for. I would love it. Toronto, on the other hand, they have a great future, and like they got the number 2 pick this year. They had their first three overall picks last year. That they've got a handing of the torch situation with CJ Kurse here and Mark Matthews and stuff like that. Even though Mark's obviously just new to the Toronto Rock, but they've got their next group of guys, and I do like this team a lot, right? And they're gonna end up with a really good player off this draft that's ready to go for next year. And it gets interesting to see what's gonna happen. So we'll see what happens there. Honestly, we really will. But I like this. I like this matchup. I think that, like I said, right now I give Toronto the edge, and I'm cheering for Toronto. We're rocking with Toronto, all that stuff. But honestly, if Halifax wins this championship, I'm not going to be mad. I'm going to be happy. I'm happy for the city. I think the city's going to be great. Well, hopefully they'll have a parade. I think it will do more for Halifax, the growth of the game in Halifax, than it will do in Toronto, honestly, personally, just because I think that winning it, like, it'll be the first really championship Halifax as a city wins in like a professional sporting thing, I'm pretty sure. So it's going to be massive. And I hope Halifax does a big celebration for it, like a big parade, and we party. And because I'll go down, I'm going to go down. If they win the championship, I'm going to go down. If they win in Hamilton, I might go down if there's a parade. Like, I'm going to have to, right? Like, how do I not go down to that? The only reason I'm not going to the games this weekend, and I'm kind of praying that it goes to game 3, because if it does, I might be road tripping. Not going to lie, man. I might boot to Ontario. If they make game 3, I might boot to Ontario, because I can't go this weekend because my son's got a lacrosse tournament. So I'm gonna be in Harvey, New Brunswick this weekend coaching. So I unfortunately cannot go to the games this weekend, or the game this weekend in Halifax. So with that being said, if they somehow pull it off and they go to game 3, I'm gonna have to pop in my car and boot my butt to Ontario to go see the game, because I can't miss that. I'm upset that I have to miss it this weekend, because I would 100% go down, and I'd sit in the nosebleeds if I had to see the game. But we're gonna be doing a watch party here, and we'll be seeing what's up. So with all that being said, there's the review of the week and the preview, and now we're gonna get into the Jake Henhawk interview. Now I told you guys I threw lines out, right? I was throwing lines out. This is episode 48. I haven't had a guest in a while, so I want to get somebody on that was really good. Throw some lines out, and luckily enough, Jake Henhawk was super happy to come on. And I was like, okay, sweet, man. Got him in here. Unfortunately, his camera wasn't able to work. That's the only thing. He couldn't get it figured out. I don't really care, to be honest with you. So my camera was on the whole time, but his wasn't, and that's cool. I still got to pick his brain about a lot of stuff. Talked to him for quite a while. He's a really nice guy, and it was super knowledgeable. Been everywhere. He understands the game better than 99% of the people. He really does. He sees the game differently. And it's funny because we're talking about this, and like, it's not like he played at a super, like, I don't want to say he didn't play at a high level, but I don't think he ever went pro. And you don't need to go pro to have a really good lacrosse mind. Just because your body doesn't do what you want it to sometimes, or what where it's almost, these athletes can move faster, but Jake has done a lot for the sport. He's been in a lot of different positions. He's helped the U.S. men's box team. He's in a position in Halifax. There's not really a title for it, but he's very integrated in the Halifax system. He was the GM of the Six Nation Arrows from like 2013 to 2021, I think it was. He's involved in tons of lacrosse, does the lacrosse class, creators the Creators Game podcast, and he also now is the co-host in Lacrosse Classified. So Lucas Arger has left and gone on to do different things, and now it's time to bring on Jake Henhawk. Is that so? I'm excited to listen to. I haven't listened to the episode. I try to do my own podcast first before I listen to other people talk about it. I just find I don't want it to sway my opinions. I just want to bring. I'm just looking at the games, and I try to just show you. Now I will occasionally listen to a lot of times I did listen to BSC on Mondays because I'm working and I'm like, oh, I'll throw it on. So I do sometimes listen to that, but I really like to record my podcast first. And then this week I will say, I actually listened to Daily Dive on Monday and love that guy. Love Mike as well. So I would love to have him on the show. I know he sometimes listens to this, but I'd love to have him on the show. I texted him. I didn't get a text back, but he's probably busy. But anyway, I'm hoping to have him on the show too. I don't see him on podcasts that much or at all, actually, to be honest with you. And he's done a lot for this sport. So I would love to give him some love. So anyway, but we'll talk about that after. Let's get back to Jake Henhawk. Like I said, man, really glad for it to have him on the show. Like I always say, anybody gives me any of their time, I appreciate it. And I'm pretty sure he's going to come back on because we did not, I talked to him I don't want to keep too long. But anyway, I didn't get to talk to him about all the topics. So you know how I've been digging into Lacrosse Canada, and we got to talk about that. It won't be on this one, but he will be back on to talk about that. We're going to cover that in a different one. Without anything else, let's get right into the interview and let's go. All right, on today's show, I want to welcome Jake Henhawk, very respected guy in lacrosse. Welcome to the show, buddy.
Thanks for having me. Good to be here.
So just I always like to start out by giving me a quick rundown of how you got into lacrosse.
Obviously, growing up on Six Nations, we've always been around the game here, and it's always the saying, you see every kid's going to school with their lacrosse stick, getting on the bus with lacrosse sticks, sleeping with their lacrosse sticks from such a young age, and my dad played, my brother played, so obviously I wanted to be like my older brother and dad and follow the footsteps and play. I didn't really start playing competitively until Pee Wee, which is now U13 lacrosse, so that was my actual first year playing, and from there on I played every year until I could not play anymore, which was 22 years. I had my fourth concussion, none from lacrosse, so the doctor just said, it's time to give it up, or you can just keep risking it and become a vegetable. I went the route of not being a vegetable and got into coaching right away, right into junior lacrosse, and right from there it led me to all the different opportunities that I've been able to pursue over the last 10, 15, 20 years now. So it's been good to me.
Now, are you full-time lacrosse? Do you only do lacrosse?
Yeah. I'm just full-time, working with the Halifax Thunderbirds, and then I have some stuff on my own that I do as well, and then I'm a volunteer for Six Nations minor lacrosse down here in Six Nations as well, and that's its own full-time job on its own. So
yeah, absolutely. Do you find there's a lot of politics towards that?
Trying to get it out, but I think it's going to be like that regardless of wherever you are and what sport it is, and you kind of see it play out wherever, right? And soccer, baseball, hockey, especially when you get to the higher tiers there. So try to do our best to keep it out, and being a Six Nations, like a smaller community, it gets a little tough and tricky, especially when you have so many family members that are coaching and playing, and then get upset if your nephew gets cut or from your team or whatever the case may be, right? So it gets tricky down here.
Yeah, absolutely. My nephew's from there. I'm actually from the area. My family's from Brantford. Willie Rose is his name. He played.
Okay, yeah.
He's a little feisty guy.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I kind of do know a little bit about the politics and stuff down there. But it's definitely I've seen a couple of his games and stuff, and I mean it's top world class lacrosse. I'm a big advocate for saying that the best lacrosse players in the world come out of that area.
I agree. Definitely the most skilled. Luckily we're in a good geographic area where we're able to play the top caliber teams from the GTA and even east up near Ottawa there too. So we're in a good spot. We're in a good spot to be able to play the best. So.
Now, do you find the West Coast is starting to catch up to the OJLL, or do you think that the OJ is still kind of like that next tier up?
I guess a two-part answer I can give to it. By the books, Ontario is the A province. BC and Alberta are classified as B provinces. That's where they're allowed to pick up guys. But I think it depends. It goes in waves. Like BC produces a lot of good players individually. Then periodically they do produce good teams. Like you do see Coquitlam now. Like you have your organizations that go in waves. Like in the early 90s it was New Westminster that ran the juniors. In later 90s and early 2000s it was Burnaby Lakers, and then now we're Coquitlam wave here, right? And so I guess it just depends on a big thing of it is just how you're doing in minor and how you're developing players and getting new players to come in and play. And so, but I do think that I don't want to say they're far off, but it's close. Like especially you see now the Minto Cups, like even Alberta being competitive. But that's just again, I'd like to see how they compete with an all Alberta team from their own centers, like some of the Ontario teams go to the Minto Cup with and go from there. But they're doing what they have to do to be competitive, and they got a lot of good, especially in Alberta, they got a lot of good guys now coming into the game and helping coach the kids and help teach them to get better as well. So.
Yeah, I know I was talking to some guys out in like Port Coquitlam there, and they kind of stay with the same group of kids right from like U11 up now. So that's they're developing with the kids, and I think I don't know about you, but I think that's a really good strategy on how to develop players.
Yeah, I agree. We do that here for the most part as well, and it's always us dads that are coaching the teams, and we try to stay with our age groups as much as we can. But sometimes it doesn't work where kids do drop out for other sports, or they just don't want to play anymore for whatever reason. But yeah, obviously you do want to keep kids growing up all the way up. Like especially you see it in hockey too, right? Like it's easier for hockey players, hockey teams to do it because they play by their own birth year, right? And lacrosse, some centers do it where they keep the kids with their birth year and up to a certain point. But for the most part, you got your double cohort, and so it's tough to stay with just one single year. But you do have your double cohort every other year where you have kids that you want. But
yeah, no, absolutely. Okay, so what do you like growing up in Six Nations? Why do you think I know it's obviously the creator game and everything, but why do you think it's so much different there than anywhere else, really?
I think we're just around it all the time, and it's just it's not like you go to Toronto and it's just like, well, let's go play soccer or hockey there, right? Like that's the prevalent sports up there in the big city. But down here, it's just nobody really plays soccer unless you're at recess, or it's either hockey in the winter or lacrosse in the summer. And more often than not, kids are going towards lacrosse in the winter now too. And smaller community, you just want to do what your family and friends are doing too, right? And just trying to make sure that you're fitting in and being close to your friends and family all the time. So I think that's the biggest part of it. And the other part, I think all the kids truly do love the game, and it brings a camaraderie to the kids, and I think they like that, and the structure of the game too. And we have some tough coaches, and I think a lot of the kids actually appreciate that down here, where they're being not yelled at, but just being held accountable, and teaching the kids the right way of how to play the game.
Do you find it's hard to stay on that line of being like a hard coach and keeping kids accountable and then not going over the line kind of deal?
Me personally, no. I'm pretty calm. I'm pretty calm in my demeanor on the bench and on the floor. Even before the season starts, I always tell the parents, like, if I'm raising my voice on the floor at practice, like, I'm not yelling at your kids. I'm just yelling loud enough so they can hear me. You know what I mean? There's a big difference to some kids. They hear a loud voice and they think, whether that's coming from home, they just think they're being yelled at, right? But you're just saying it loud enough so they can hear you. So they're just trying to make sure they know the difference between how I do it and how others do it. But for some it is a tough line. Some are really intense. Like I'm pretty intense, but I do know when to pull back and not be too aggressive with some of the kids. So and again, it's just knowing what kids you have and what you can get away with, and knowing what buttons you can push, and when to pull back, and when they can be pushed.
Yeah, and I mean, I think every kid's obviously different. Every individual situation is individual. So with Six Nations players, like as we talked about, I think they're some of the best in the world, if not the best in the world. Do you think it's more like skill development? Is it more do they just have creativity from playing with from such a young age? Is it just being inbred in the culture? Is it the IQ that separates them, or is it just pure reps?
Probably a combination of all that. I think familiarity is a big thing with these kids down here. You probably heard the saying, backyard lacrosse, or like the native boys are just playing backyard lacrosse or whatever else, and that's essentially what it is. Kids just going outside and like kids in the city would be doing, going on the streets and playing road hockey. Like the kids on reserve, they're just in the yards playing lacrosse, and that I think that's where they form their true creativity, and that's where they have their most fun. It's just no pressure lacrosse in the yard with their friends, and they're just speaking for myself, like that's how I was when I played with my friends whether at my house or another friend's house. We just played lacrosse, had fun, and we always tried different things, and we always made sure that we forced each other to be creative with some of the shots that we're trying. Just trying different games like that, and pushing each other to be better that way as well.
Now, what's your opinion? Is Summer League better, or is the NLL better?
Depends what league.
Yeah.
I love Junior A lacrosse. The same as I would say with junior hockey. It is the best thing, next best thing to the professionals. But the best lacrosse, in my opinion, is the Mann Cup series. There's nothing better. Even if it's a 4-game sweep, you're still going to see some really, really good lacrosse. And both those teams are just stacked with essentially NLL All-Star teams. Like you see the Chiefs loading up, and then even New Westminster last year, the team that they had. That's a really solid team there too. And I think they went 7 games last year. And and everybody predicted that the Chiefs were going to go there and they're going to be done 4 or 5 games. And it's never the case when that happens. But when you got the East-West pride going, guys are going to go a little harder too. So, but to me, I think it's Mann Cup, and then probably NLL, then Junior A.
Yeah, I mean, you've seen so last year was the first time I ever watched the Mann Cup. I thought it was obviously I was treated to something that I don't know if we'll get to see in another couple of years or whatnot, but to that level of that 7-game series and all that stuff. But do you find the West is catching up to the East, and especially the Chiefs in general?
It depends on the year. Like just thinking from my mindset, I'm not speaking from anybody else's mindset, but I feel it's tougher for Western teams to just put money into the team when they're going to come to the East, and they're going to have to come play Six Nations or Peterborough when Peterborough was on their run, right? Like it's such a daunting task to put all this money in, and I don't want to even speculate on how much money goes into it. I have an idea, but I think they're more intrigued when it's on the West Coast to really stack up like they did last year with New West, and I think next year you'll see like 2027 summer you'll see a really strong Western presence with the Man Cup being out west there. So again, I think it toggles every other year with the Western teams on how competitive they want to be and how much money they want to throw in, just based off of where the Man Cup is going to be held, if it's going to be the East or the West.
Now, I know you don't want to get into like specifics, but are guys making more, would you say, in the summer leagues than they are in the NLL? Nobody's specific, but just are there players that are making more in summer than they do in the NLL?
Yes and no.
Okay.
I'm going to say no.
Okay.
There might be a few, but not many. Yeah, not many.
Okay, because there's a lot like I'm a Chiefs fan now, obviously, just because I followed them and I'm from that area a little bit, so I do enjoy the Chiefs. So I'm fine with them being a super team. I love watching it, but a lot of people complain about that. Do you think there is an issue with how they kind of attract players and kind of throw their weight around?
It's an amateur league, so they do it for the love of the game. There's no money being passed around. Air quotes saying that, right? But
yeah, of course.
But yeah, the same thing was said about Six Nations Arrows when we had our runs. Like in junior, we didn't throw money around, but we just treated our kids like it was a professional team, right? And we had the big locker room. We got massage therapists. We have all these things on staff and team meals after games and stuff like that. The kids never had to pay a dime for any equipment, stuff like anything. Like they were just treated like it was a professional team, and that's why so many players wanted to come to the Arrows, is because we treated it as such. And that's how. I think if the Chiefs did not do what they're doing now financially, I still think a lot of players would still want to come here based off of just the experience they had in Six Nations playing. Like you see so many guys come to Six Nations Junior and they just don't leave. They always end up playing for the Rivermen, our senior B team, or even the Chiefs here. They just fall in love with the atmosphere and they ingrain themselves in the community. And but I can see why teams would get frustrated. Some senior teams have a payroll that would rival a professional team, and but it is what it is. I think personally, I think it shouldn't be that way, or at least a cap maybe. But it does take a lot of the intrigue out of it. Like if you had asked me that question that you asked earlier, what I think the best league is, I would say the Senior A League would probably be the best if all things were considered would be treated equally and fair. And all the players from these centers would go home and play. I think you're going to see some of the best lacrosse that way. But being as it is now, that's why I just say it's the Man Cup, not the actual season. You have so many guys that just don't come play a few games at a time, or you just never know who's playing. It's easier just to say that even the Ontario Finals for the Senior A's and then the Man Cup, like those are usually good series. And yeah, it's tough to. I think it's tough to be optimistic for a lot of these teams when you're going up against a juggernaut, right?
Yeah.
Even going into the season, like it's just already like you already know who's crowned pretty much.
Well, I mean that's what when I look at the rosters, I'm starting to look over the rosters. I'm like, this is crazy, and you see the trades, and and the Chiefs just seem to get all the kind of everything kind of goes their way. And I just came to the sport. I started watching lacrosse. It would have been when the Four Nations tournament was on during hockey. I turned it on, and there was nothing else on, so I turned on lacrosse, and I fell in love with it. Right, like that's when I started watching the NLL. And what I find is just exposure for this game. Honestly, is what we really need.
Yep.
So So anyway, do you find that again, I'm new to the sport, so I try to do this respectfully, but do you find the men's Senior A should be a feeder league for the NLL, and the NLL should more flip to a summer league?
We talked about this. We talked about this on the Creators on Sunday, and me personally, it's going to be tough regardless because the NLL is playing in the winter. You're competing with the NFL, NBA, NHL, women's hockey, college sports, concerts. So some of these teams, they're 4, 5, 6 in the pecking order for arena availability, right? And you especially see that Philadelphia, they're getting the 11 a.m., 1 p.m., or even a Monday 5 p.m. time slots. So they're kind of low on the pecking order there. And even with Georgia, like they had lost Game 3 because they had a high school graduation in the arena. So I even going back to the summer, like I think, yeah, you're only really competing with baseball, but how many teams are going, like you see with PLL too, like they want to be this traveling model where they go to where all the club tournaments are, so they would get these kids to come, but the kids aren't going because they're playing. The same thing can be said for the NLL. Like how many people are going to actually go sit in a arena on a hot summer day when they could be at the beach or at their cottage or their own kids lacrosse? It's the same thing. Like you see, if it was going to be successful, you would see it successful in Senior A, and you don't really see that other than in Peterborough, where they're getting all their fans. But I think the only pro to going to the winter or going from winter to summer would be maybe a TV deal, stuff like that, where that would alleviate some of the cost from losing X amount of fans from your ticket sales. So, to me personally, I think it needs to stay where it is, and maybe move the season up a month or two. But again, now you're getting into that. There's no rest period between the Senior A Man Cup series to right into the NLL. So it's tough. It's going to be tough. I don't know if moving the season's going to work wonders, but I just think there's a lot of work that has to be done On a number of things before any moving the season to a different part of the year. I think there's other things that need to be worked on before that.
Yeah, I mean, I do understand that. It would be a big gamble because you're taking. I only look at it like that because coming from hockey, I know after hockey was over, I didn't really have anything to watch. So I'm always like, I throw on baseball or I throw on like tennis or whatever it was on really, just to have something in the background. So that's why I always think of it, and maybe moving towards something more of like where the NLL plays on 2 specific days a week, where usually the junior programs don't play or something. I'm not sure. It definitely takes some coordination, but it's always something that I always wondered when I came in here because I'm like, it just makes sense because you're. I think the easiest fan to transfer over is a hockey fan.
Yeah, and again, going back to the summer and finding specific dates. A lot of these guys would have to give up playing senior A, coaching their kids perhaps. So it might be more taxing because there's too much lacrosse all at the same time. So I'm not sure what the right answer is or when the right time is, but right now I think there's other things that need to be worked on before a full season going to the spring summer, while competing with the PLL.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's another whole thing. Is there, it seems like the PLL is more open to working with the NLL now. I know I just seen an interview with Rabiel there, a clip of it, and he was talking about, the NLL is now one of the leagues they consider when making their schedule and stuff.
Do you think that's word salad?
It could be, for sure. But he wouldn't even, anything before that, really, well, not before that, but anything up till recently, hasn't even, NLL's been almost like not even talked about.
I think he's seeing the reality of players leaving the PLL just to play summer box now, and I think that's what's kind of kicking him towards that. So I don't think that's a genuine thing. I think that's a necessity.
Do you think it's like Lyle that really started that trend?
No, I think there's others too. Like it's not just Native Americans or Canadians that are leaving.
Yeah.
Like Americans are leaving too, and it's like you look at the college kids coming out of school. Like some of these kids are coming out with finance degrees and they're going right to New York making 6 figures. So it's tough to go to your boss as a first year employee and saying, I got to do jail Friday, I got to play here, and then go play for X amount of dollars, which doesn't even cover 2 days of your work. So it's tough when all these things are happening. There's so many different factors that go into it, but perhaps Lyle was, but I think there's a bunch of other factors that go into it.
Yeah, I mean, I think playing closer to home, I think is probably obviously a factor as well for a lot of these Ontario guys and stuff anyway.
Yeah, a lot of them have kids, young kids, and like I said, kids that are playing now, and that's with Lyle's situation. He wanted to be closer to home, be closer to his kids, and he was on the go for God, so many years now, and at some point you just gotta slow down and enjoy life a bit, while getting to play lacrosse at home.
Exactly. Now, how far away do you think we are from being like NLL players being full time guys playing lacrosse?
Decades.
Decades. Okay.
Yeah. No, I like I said, there's a lot of work to be done. That's just my personal opinion, just from seeing the inner workings, and I just like I see a lot of, I know a lot of the contracts, and I see a lot of that side, and honestly, some of these guys can live off of what they're making, not just NLL, but through the PLL or summer. So it's not like they're not just professional only lacrosse players. They can make do with what a lot of them are. But it is tough though. But I think we're ways away from that still. And there's talks of some going around years ago. Maybe cutting the rosters down to 16 players per game, and so now you're getting into that sixes territory of only having X amount of players, and then now are you cutting the game time down because you only have so many players, because now that's more taxing on their bodies, and lacrosse being the fast and physical intense game it is pretty taxing over a season, let alone a season where you have less players on your team and still playing the same amount of time or whatever the case may be. So I do think we're a ways away from that, so that's just my opinion.
Yeah, and do you think we're close to a TV deal then, where the NLL will actually get paid to be on TV?
Ooh, that's way above my pay grade, but I don't even want to speculate on that one.
Okay, no worries at all, man. I get it, absolutely. Okay, so let's shift into like some junior lacrosse stuff here. Sure. Now I know I read that you were like the GM of the Arrows since 2013. Now it just went on, and it says you're not currently. So when did that all end? When did you I'm sure you're still associated with them, but are you still the GM, or is that?
No. I took the job in 2013, and then COVID happened, and we were looking as a league. We were looking at different avenues because under the OLA we're kind of restricted on how we could operate our league and whatnot. It didn't allow us the freedom to operate as we needed and how we wanted to operate. So, we started seeking out other opportunities, and one presented itself in the TLL, the Tour and Lacrosse League. So we were going to go to that, and a few other teams were supposed to come with us, and then it didn't materialize. So even at that point, though, like I was kind of wanting to be on my way out anyways. When I originally took the job, I told them I'll give you guys 6-7 years, but once my guys start playing, I don't want to be missing their stuff, because when we had the Arrows, we were on the floor maybe 5 times a week. Couple practices and morning shoot around, and obviously games as well, so it was a lot of time away. So when that happened, it kind of all happened the way it did. It kind of worked out for the best for everybody. I stepped away from the team. We moved it to a different group. Cody Jameson took over the leadership group of that team, and they got a bunch of good guys helping run the team. Old Arrows like W. Paulus back from the late 90s, early 2000s. He's helped run the team. Jason Johnson, he won a Minto Cup as well in '92. David Robertson, he helps with the GM stuff, and he's a assistant GM for the Haudenosaunee men's sixes team or field team right now. So they got a lot of good guys there helping out, and obviously Stu Montour, head coach previously of the Thunderbirds. So they got a lot of good guys there. So I do help out with them once in a while. They'll ask my thoughts on some of the league stuff and whatnot. So I don't mind helping with that stuff. But other than that, I don't really do much with the junior team anymore. So.
Okay, cool. So, like, for a kid that's trying to make it to that level, though, what would you say is the biggest thing to get there and to kind of separate themselves to get into that cream of the crop?
Drive.
Okay.
That's to me, that's the biggest thing. Like, you can be we've had guys come into Six Nations. We brought guys in, and I'm not slamming these guys. We had Kellen Leclerc, Liam Leclerc, like they both are in the NLL, and they stayed with the Chiefs. They've had a lot of successful years. These guys were raw, but Kellen Leclerc came in and he could barely handle the ball as a 17-year-old D guy. I saw him playing junior B, and like this guy was probably 6'4", 6'5", 220 pounds. Bring him in, see if we can mold him, and we stuck with the guy, and he had the drive and perseverance just to make it and stick around. And then we brought his younger brother Liam in, and these guys won Minto Cups because they just wouldn't take no for an answer. And another guy I talk highly about in that same breath is Blake MacDonald. I told the story many times. Even I had Blake MacDonald help coach with me with the U13s last year, and he's a guy that we cut in 2014, and he kept showing up. He didn't take no for an answer, and he paid his dues, showed up to the practices every game, road games. He'd stay on the bus after everybody left and clean the bus, and nobody told him to. That's just the type of person he was, and just to show that he wanted to be where he wanted to be there, and just never took no for an answer, right? So I think the drive and perseverance is one big thing. Another thing would be coachability. You got to have guys that are wanting to play in a system and wanting to learn how to play and play together. And the other thing is just maturity, especially at that level. Like, you have guys that are, especially when you get into a program that's competing for Minto Cups. Like, you don't really. It's a grind in that summer. It's once you get into that season, it is nonstop. You're with your teammates, not 24/7, but pretty darn close to it. And so you got to have that maturity level just to be able to be around the guys. No fighting and crap like that, or even just not even going out nights before games or whatever, right? And just staying home, making sure you're rested for the game and ready to be up for the morning shoot around. If like that's what we had for Sunday mornings. We had Sunday night home games, so just making sure you're ready for those types of games.
Yeah, I know. I see a lot of and this goes for hockey or lacrosse or any sport. It's a lot of the guys get involved in more of like the after the game more than getting ready before the game, and it kind of does separate the players from who are going to play at the top level from who guys might be really talented, but they just don't have maybe the drive or the dedication to do it.
Yeah, and it's tough because there's so many guys that play junior B or even like I said it before, like even the Arena Lacrosse League here and the semi-pro league. Like, there's so many guys that could be playing in the ALL, and and circumstance comes into it too, right? Like especially junior and even now, if you're a young guy, if you're having a baby young, then your life changes. So you got to prioritize whether you're gonna go at it with lacrosse or you're gonna put it aside for now and make sure you're able to provide. But then there are the same guys that are in that situation that have a good support system back home, support system at home to kind of help them with still playing lacrosse, but also managing, having a baby or whatever the case may be. So again, it just comes down. There's a lot of different factors, but again, yes, the support system would be a good one too, having that at home.
Do you find over the years it's gotten better or worse for that stuff? Like, do you find more players are kind of starting to stray away from that kind of different circumstances that stop them from playing the game, or do you find it's getting harder for players now with just the cost of living going up?
Like in junior or just in general?
Yeah, junior. Yeah, junior.
No, I don't think so. I think every center's different. Six Nations is always going to be different from other centers, but I don't see the cost of living and stuff like that really affecting circumstances. Like especially once you get to junior, you shouldn't be paying for anything anyways, right? You do that minor, like you should be not paid to play, but all your stuff should be taken care of, like any helmet, glove, or any equipment that you need. Maybe you buy your own sticks or shoes, but anything else should be kind of taken care of for you. So, and that's the minimum that a team should be doing at that level. I'm not sure all of them do that.
I just meant more like if because these kids are like 19, 20, 21 years old, like those kids, if they don't have the best home life, they might want to get out and be on their own. And if you're trying to pay for your life working and then also trying to play at this top level lacrosse, do you find a lot of these players that are on those teams, they don't have jobs or anything, or are they also working as well?
I guess again, circumstance. Some might still be in school in the summer, right, doing summer classes, But yeah, I think a lot of these guys do find jobs that are accommodating to them still playing lacrosse. So I don't see it as being a big effect on it, many people. But again, I think it'd just be more in the minority of affecting guys being able to play.
Yeah, absolutely, and I'm sure they get a little bit maybe they're because it's it's so in the culture. I'm sure if they have a job out there, they're probably a little bit easier on them getting the time off and stuff like that.
Yes, well, down here for sure. I'm not sure. Yeah. I'm sure it's that way with a lot of the other areas too. We've had kids from other centers that would drive down, but they still worked where they lived, and a lot of the places were fine with it, especially if you're doing something competitively. So.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I know even like down here, I've talked to some guys in the East Coast here, and they even just going to university, they'll just tell their professor they have, this going on. I'm going to play in the pros, and they kind of look at them like, what? Or sometimes they're like, what's lacrosse? But also it's like, oh, they have a pro league? Like, I didn't even know. So it's just funny. So, man.
Where are you again?
I'm in Moncton now, Moncton, New Brunswick. So.
And how many?
Down here about 6 years ago now.
And how many associations or players are playing there?
We've got probably around in New Brunswick. It's probably around 600 kids, I think, this year or something. We have three in Moncton. We have three U13 teams. I'm coaching U13 this year, my son's team, and we have three U13s. That's the most they've had in a long time. So it seems to be picking up. In Nova Scotia, I think it's around 5,000 players there in Nova Scotia. So it's quite a bit bigger there. And then we play the Junior A teams here play for the founders is how it works.
Yeah. So how many junior teams are in New Brunswick?
There's one junior team in New Brunswick,
okay.
Junior A team.
Okay.
Junior B, we just got one here as well, and then a lot of the stuff is in Nova Scotia. So the Junior A team, a lot just travels to Nova Scotia a lot to play.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it sounds like it's growing then, especially if you're getting higher numbers at the younger level.
Oh yeah, no, it's growing down here big time, and it's just I know there's a couple guys that because we got a junior B program here in Moncton, St. John's, about an hour and a half away. That's where a lot of them were playing last year, or a few of them, and they just it's too much of a commute, so they're playing Junior B this year actually for the Moncton team. So it's a lot of circumstances and just what's going on and stuff, and there's not as much of a pipeline down here to go to the next level, right? A lot of the guys will go either out west or to Ontario to play if they want to try to make that jump. Yeah,
I've noticed a lot of guys coming into Ontario this year, especially Junior B. A lot of guys going to Orangeville or some other centers there. So it's good.
Yeah, there's a kid, Aiden Brown. I interviewed him, and he plays for Poco out west, but he tried out for some Ontario teams too, some Junior A, I think Junior B programs out there. So he's kind of until he found his spot.
He's a goalie.
Yeah, he's a goalie, yeah.
Oh, Ashton Brown, you mean?
Or Ashton Brown, sorry.
Yeah,
Ashton
yeah,
Brown, yes,
yeah.
sorry.
We drafted him in Halifax a couple years back.
Okay.
And
Yeah. So,
he's a good kid. He's a great kid.
And like I've interviewed like Levi Tui, same thing.
Yeah,
I know
yeah.
he was playing for you guys for a couple games there, or a game or two, and then the Josh Mills, I've interviewed him as well. So there's a couple guys in there, but yeah. Anyway, so let's talk about the Halifax Thunderbirds, man. So give me a rundown on how you got involved in that. I know you've pretty much been involved right from the beginning of that whole thing.
Yeah. So so it's just going back, like I started in Vancouver with the Vancouver Stealth back before they became the Warriors back in. So I met with the GM, Doug Locker, at that time at the 2014 Minto Cup when we were playing there. And we talked over the week, and then just before I left, he asked if I was be interested in being the Eastern Scout. So I, quick to say, sure, yeah, love to do it. So we got into that for a couple of years, and then it wasn't really going anywhere. We had a couple good years in Vancouver, but it just I kind of wanted to be more involved. So I kind of I did step away, and then I had an opening. I let Kurt know, because this was when he was in Rochester still and with the Nighthawks, and so he brought me on right away, and we had a contract the very first day after we talked, and got to work right away. Then another opportunity opened up with the New York Riptide being an expansion team, and I had a great relationship with Reggie Thorpe, who was the head coach GM with that team when he came on. So I'd moved over. It was going to be a different opportunity for me, especially working with a team from the ground up. So I was excited for that opportunity. So we took that. Then, we didn't have the best start. The ownership. We talked with the ownership and about our plans for year 2, year 3, and they seemed to be on board. And then a week later, they hired somebody else, and we were let go. So, a few days later, Kurt called me. He goes, "You ready to come back?" So I went back to Halifax, and so I was actually with Kurt and helping find Halifax, going to Halifax the first time with him to meet the people from the arena and the mayor at that time. I believe his name was Mike Savage. Maybe a different first name, but I definitely remember Savage was the last name of the mayor. And then we went to the Mooseheads game. It was a Tuesday night in February, I believe, and it was like a blizzard there, like everything, snow, ice, everything. So we got the full East Coast experience there, and it was a Tuesday night Mooseheads game, and it was a full barn. And I looked at Kurt after we left the arena, and Tuesday night, and all the bars were full on a blizzard. And I looked at Kurt, I'm like, this is the spot. This is it right here. And he looked at me, he goes, I agree. The rest is history, as you call it. But yeah, so that's how I kind of got my start, just out in the West Coast first, and then worked my way back home here. So I've been involved ever since.
So what are you involved with them right now? What's your current position there?
Kurt doesn't really give titles.
Okay.
So I just have tasks, I'll say that. Yeah. But I do a lot of
you're on staff though?
Yeah. I do a lot of the scouting, data analytics, stuff like that. So when it comes to the drafts, I'm usually the lead guy, kind of going over that. But then we do have a group decision on who is selected. I just provide the info and data that I see and collect the data that they have. So more or less that's my main thing, and then just also helping with the assistant GM Scott Campbell there, and doing a lot of the contracts, negotiations, and just prep work for free agency, stuff like that, and making sure that we're going after the right guys and just giving the data that backs up some of the decisions that we want to make. So
yeah, I mean, I at the beginning of the season, I had you guys like my prediction for you guys was 14-4. That was kind of what I thought. And I mean, you've had 6 1-goal game losses this year.
Well, you put those as wins. That is the record, right?
That's what I mean. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what So I'm torn right now because, as you can see, I'm wearing a Toronto Rock jersey. But I've been preaching the Halifax Thunderbirds all year. I was shocked, as everyone else was, that they beat Vancouver, obviously. But I wasn't like, I didn't think they couldn't do it. I just thought Vancouver, the way they've got arguably the best goalie in the world, all this different stuff. But what a win for you guys there, man. So
Yeah.
do you just find sometimes it's just not the ball just doesn't bounce the right way almost for this year especially?
At the beginning of the year, no. I think we shot ourselves in the foot a lot of times, especially, a lot of people knew that, we're a little slow to get back, so just run the ball on us, and that's how teams beat us, right? Just beating us in transition, and we weren't the best at it, but so we did make some moves, obviously, moving on from feed, and that was another thing that we identified. Like we always noticed that Knox was open, and he just wasn't getting the ball right, and now you're seeing it after Feed's gone that we're getting to actually see the guy that we hoped we're getting when we picked up Knox in the dispersal draft from Panther City. He's put up, I believe, 11 goals in the 3 playoff or 4, whatever, how many playoff games we've had, and not showing no signs of slowing down. But just back to the original question, we had so many 1-goal losses, especially from that trade deadline on, from February on. I think that's the date. We played Georgia. We lost 11-7. I'm not sure if that was in Halifax or Georgia, but from that game on, we either won or we had a 1-goal loss. So when I said this on Creators Game, like I could see 5, 6, 7, 8 in a seeding sweep the top 4 based off of, Halifax was, even though we had some losses, we were hot. San Diego playing for this playoff life. Toronto at 6, they were a top seed, and then obviously fighting for home floor. Then they just beat Sask. They beat Sask and Sask, right, in the season.
Yeah.
So just lining that up, and then Buffalo and Georgia was going to be the coin flip, but and that's what happened, right? You have to have, were they the like Jake Elliott talked about it, were they the best teams? Were the bottom 4 the best teams moving on? Maybe not, but they were playing the best, and at the end of the day, that's all that really matters, right? You're playing your best lacrosse at the end.
That's kind of what I was saying. I was like, no disrespecting any of these teams, but it's like if whoever wins at this point, even like I was talking before the semis, is like, can you actually consider them the best team? Like, I kind of do, because they won when they wanted to, and I like I said, I was really high on Halifax. I've been saying Toronto is the best team in the league, and I've been getting laughed at when everything is firing properly for them. But when you look at it on paper, it's like, how do you not put Vancouver, Colorado as the best team in the league, right, after the season they've had? So I don't know. Where do you sit on that? Do you think that whoever wins the championship is the best team in the league, no matter what they did during the regular season?
They're the best team until they're not the best team, until somebody takes that away from them. Doesn't matter what seed you are. I said it right from the get-go. Halifax is not an 8 seed. they're 2, 3, 4 seed.
Now, do you think we should see, like, are you good with the 1-game elimination, or do you want to see more? Like, I personally like to see like a 3-game elimination series myself, but what are your thoughts on that?
I'm good with it.
Yep.
It's just tough logistically. Some arenas just aren't there. Like, obviously we've seen it with Georgia, but
Yeah.
I'm good with it. It creates that urgency to win. Like, there's games where, we get to play again next week, and we'll bounce back for games 2 and 3. Like, you know what? No, it's just like the NFL. They don't get that bounce back. They have to perform week in and week out, right? And I personally prefer that. I'd almost prefer that for the semis too.
One and done.
Yep.
Okay.
If that gave us a 3 out of 5 for the finals, I would prefer that.
Okay. So yeah. Okay. Do you ever think we'll see like a 7-game series final, like in the Mann Cup, or no?
Again, I think that goes more towards once we get to a full-time players league, and we can play on the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays, and until that happens, I'll say no.
Okay. And okay, cool. Okay, so now I was a little baffled when the Theed trade came in, obviously, but obviously you guys know more than I do, because when I look at the numbers now, you can see it in the record. It's just gone. You guys, were struggling, and then as soon as that trade happened, not to single out that trade specifically, and the Tyson Bell trade as well, you can really see the shifting on where Halifax started to turn it around.
Yeah, I think you have to be able to identify pros and cons with all the players, and like Theed's such a there's not many players like him in the league. Maybe Tanner Cook might be the only guy that would be better than him at that type of power forward position, especially as a lefty. Like he gets the ball, and he's pretty predictable. Get the ball, go to the net, right, or just blast one from the outside, or else it just kind of hangs in a stick a little bit too long. That's one thing. Like I said, we saw guys that were open all the time, just weren't getting the ball. That's a deal that we thought would benefit us, not just now but in the future. And coming out of the 2028 pick, it's not right away, but who's to say that we're not using that pick to go get something else that we need, right? Like it's not about when the pick is. It's just about having picks in the cupboard there for our use when we need them, right? And it was just an addition by subtraction. Not Knox really stepped up, and I'll say this too, like Bo stepped up quite a bit too, and especially coming back from his little few game injury there, and the last 4, 5, 6 games he's playing really well. He's scoring some timely goals there, and going to net hard, setting some big picks. He's probably playing the best lacrosse I've seen him play ever, and I've seen him play since he was 10, 11, 12. So I think he's really turned the corner and is gaining confidence from just that extra floor time as well, and seeing the ball a little bit more. So it's benefiting a lot of the guys, and now that Knox is truly being the threat, now we're able to spread the floor out a bit more, and we don't have to be so right heavy. Now the defense has to come over and focus on the left side a bit more too, other than just jammer, right? So I think it's benefited us in so many ways, and in the reverse transition too. We're faster getting back.
Now, I will tell you that I've heard a few people say that Bo Hunter shouldn't be there, and there's other players that should be slotted in there, and it's all about, because he's part of the family or whatever, like nepotism. Do you find that? Because I don't, like, when I look at the stats and I look at the numbers, I'm like, I don't agree with that, personally.
The first few years, I think we should have eased him in a bit, but that's just my opinion, and I love the kid. But a lot of people don't get to see what I get to see every Wednesday at practice, and the kid can shoot the damn ball. There's no doubt about that. He's got a good vision with the stick, and it's always been the Achilles that he's not the fastest one out there, but he does have a high IQ. He does have the good skill set. So this is one that might take a little bit of time, but I think when it does start clicking like it is now, those types of comments and questions they'll just be put to rest. Not everybody's going to be a Jeff Teat right out of the ground, and I'm not saying Bo is going to be a Jeff Teat by any stretch, but it takes different people, different time frames to get to where they want to be, but he's getting there.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, from what I've seen, I see him play everywhere. He's kind of like a Swiss Army knife a little bit. Same as Bomberry there. I find they can play kind of wherever you want them to. And they're just kind of nose to the grind kind of players from what I see anyway. Yeah,
and you know what? Even when we asked him to play defense at the beginning of the year, there's no issues. He was good with it, and he was productive back there. He wasn't a hole, or Like he actually bought in and played some good solid minutes back there for Andrew and Roger on the D side of things. So, you know, is he going to be a transition threat? Probably not, but you know, you can probably put him on both sides of the floor and feel comfortable now. So, and that's a credit to him for working on that too.
Yeah. Now, do you think Warren Hill has had his best season ever this season?
Yes and no.
Okay.
I think his best season probably was the COVID season that got canceled. Yep. I think if COVID didn't happen, the Thunderbirds win that year, hands down.
Yep.
They were on a massive run, and Warren was the big reason why. But in saying that, you know, best season for Warren this year, no. The best finish for a season for Warren, yes. He's definitely turned it on the last since that Georgia game. Like I said, like we've only won or had one goal losses other than that the Georgia shellacking in game 2, and you know that's going to happen at some point.
Yeah.
But this is definitely his best finish to a season. So.
Now, a lot of people were talking about, like, before this, they were just talking about moving on from him, and you guys have really stuck by him, and I mean, it paid off. Like, do you see him going anywhere anytime soon, or is he going to be your goalie for a while, would you say?
I think we're a pretty loyal team, you know, and
yeah.
This is home for him, and I think this will be his net until he doesn't want it to be his net. And you know, we have Hutch here as well, and Getty, two younger goalies, chomping at the bit to get in the nets, but you know it does take time. Like I talked about before, like being a young goalie, you usually don't get into the net, especially being on a developed team like Halifax is. If you're going to a rebuilding team, then yeah, you're going to see the net more. But when you have a veteran like Warren, it's you're not going to see the net as much as you would want. But I think that he'll be back. I think. Obviously, we would love him to be back, especially playing the way he is. And you know, yeah, you're right. There's rumors of people saying Thunderbirds should move on, but they've also said that about numerous of players too, right? You know, sitting at 2 or 3 and 7 at that point, and you know, looking bleak. But like the saying goes, like believe in what we built here, and that's where it's got us to this point.
So do you think by making the playoffs and everything, do you think like Akirzi saved his job? Because that's what I look at it like personally.
No.
No, okay.
Again, like everybody doesn't see what I see.
Yeah, absolutely.
Week in and week out, and you know he's one of the most prepped guys that I know. You know, like. It's not like lacrosse isn't like football where you hire a coach and he has an 0-4 start or a 1-4 start, you're gone, right? Like lacrosse is a little bit more lenient, you know. And this was the only air quoting down year that Halifax has had, going back to Rochester as with him as the head coach. So I think you give him that leeway. Like things are going to go wonky at some point, right? And Halifax, since being in Halifax, has been a top 2, 3, 4 team in the league every year. So saving his job, making the playoffs, no, I don't believe that one bit. I think he was going to get leeway with the season and whether we made the playoffs or not. You know, and again, like we talked about, Kurt's a loyal guy, and stuff like that pays off. Just like bringing Warren back, keeping him. You know, he had a rough year last year with everything that happened, and we brought him back, and now it's paying off, right? So it's good to be loyal to a point. So it's just now it's just finding that fine line when to move on. But at this point, I don't see it. I don't see us making the playoffs saving his job. I think Mike was coming back regardless if we didn't make it or not.
Now, I'm just a fan, right? I always tell people that, but from my point of looking at it, I just know it's the Halifax really wants a championship. They've been close a few times, they haven't got it, and at some point I would think you have to start looking at maybe what to change in order to push yourself over the edge. But the loyalty thing's amazing. I do love it, and they are really loyal. And I was told by somebody close that, I kind of was going on like, how many years do we have see Randy Stotts there, or how many years do we see Cody Jameson? And I was told 8 years, but I think that might be a little bit of a stretch. But what do you think? Do you think they're close to being done, or do you get the feeling that they just want to play until their bodies just won't let them?
Just to touch on the last thing first before I go into that one,
Yeah.
in Halifax, we've had to use 31 players this year.
Yeah, I know.
That's just an odd situation to be in, and now you're plugging and playing almost every game, not having the same lineup. So you're gonna get that leeway. Is what I'm trying to say there. But
Absolutely.
guys like Randy and Jammer, I think they'll play till they're told, until their bodies tell them they can't play. Whether that's 2 years, 10 years, 20 years, I think they're gonna play. But just watching Jammer now, like I haven't seen this fire in him in maybe a year or two, and just watching. And I said this to Kurt, like I always message Kurt on game mornings, and I'll give him my prediction based off how I feel when I wake up, and I'm generally pretty close. And I watched him game two. I didn't text Kurt game two. I didn't text him until about an hour before game, and I just said I hope the boys play good, because I didn't think I didn't have a good feeling. But
Yeah.
watching Jammer in this, I think it was the second or third, we were down quite a bit, and like he went at Dauber, then he was going at guys, and I'm like, Jammer's here now. And so I text him. I text Kurt the next morning for game three, and I said, I go, it's Jammer time, man. I go, we got it. And sure enough, Jammer came out hot first quarter. I think he got one, maybe two right away, and then, that kind of got the guys going, and showing leadership, right? So I think in Jammer's mind, I think he's still a ways away. I think he's going to try to push another couple years if he can. And Randy, such a big difference bringing him back in for game three, right? Like, again, he just spreads the floor out for us, and it was just kind of Clark and Casey and Bomber. But bringing a guy like Randy in, even if he's not moving how he wants to move, but just watching him set up that backhand pass to Mike Robinson on the crease there, right? Like, he's drawing that double. That's the kind of attention that he commands just being on that floor, right? Like, you're always watching him because he's such an elite player, and in his own right, like, he's a top 5 player in this league when he is healthy. So
Absolutely.
And I think he's going to play as long as he can too. And just watching him walking around at practice is like, when he's not on the floor, like, it's just bothering him, and he's just chomping at the bit to get back. So again, I think he's going to play as long as he can. Jammer as well.
Yeah, no, that's amazing to hear. I mean, those guys, I think they'll be able to play. Like, their skill levels now, they might slow down a little bit, but at the end of the day, they're still their IQ's so high. Right?
Yeah. And
like, what was
go
what
ahead.
was said in that locker room during that, like, going into second half of that Vancouver series? Like, was it Jammer that really got everybody going, or was it a Kersey? Like, who really got the team back in the right mindset to go back out there and win?
I don't know what was said. I don't think anybody will know what was said other than the people in the dressing room, but I know it was Suits. And Jammer cleaned it up.
Okay. Fair enough, man. Okay, so I just want to. I don't. You don't need to get into specifics by any means, but what I hear a lot is that there's only one team that's really profitable in this league. Is that accurate, or are there more teams than that are profitable in your opinion?
That's above my pay grade. I wouldn't even.
Okay.
I wouldn't.
Okay.
Just from my experience on each side of the things, I would agree to that statement. maybe 1.5 teams.
Okay.
But you can't look at Georgia and say, yeah, they're making money.
Yeah.
You can't look at Philly; they're not making money.
Yeah.
I'm
more thinking like, for example, like I'm thinking like Buffalo, Halifax, who else would it be?
Colorado.
Buffalo, Halifax, Colorado,
Calgary.
Vancouver, Calgary. Calgary has to be that one that's up there, I would think anyway.
Well, you got to take in a lot of consideration too, like where the teams are, costs to get the players to where they are, how many players are in market, how many guys you're going to have them fly in wherever they are. So all these different factors come into it, and I actually did a thing and just kind of tracked some of our players, how much they make and cost the team on their own, whether through the per diems, flights, hotels, all this stuff, contracts, and it's a high price for one player. And then you kind of look at that and look at ticket prices, and obviously I don't know, I'm not on the business side of things, so I don't know what type of deals are made through certain teams or any other teams, what type of sponsorships they have. So I don't know, or what type of sponsorships the league has that are going towards teams, if any. So again, I'd agree with that statement that maybe one and a half.
So do you think that it's going to take a TV deal before these teams are profitable then?
That and probably a lot more marketing.
Yeah.
Okay. I think we need to find places that are, it doesn't have to be the sexiest city, it just needs to be the right place. And Halifax was not on anybody's radar, but look at where they are. You can even say
they're craving for sports, man.
Yeah, and you can say that about San Diego to a point, and now look at them. They're growing. And I had this conversation with Jake Elliott yesterday. You look at Las Vegas. You look at them from year one to where fans are cheering and booing at the weirdest things, not knowing the game, to now they're booing the refs at the right time, booing players, cheering players at the right time. They know what's going on, right? So you got to find the places that are actually going to be invested in the team. And again, it doesn't have to be the sexiest city. Like, everybody wants Toronto, everybody wants New York, everybody wants LA. It doesn't have to be that. It just has to be the right center. And even, like, I even look at Ottawa. I don't think that was the right choice. Like, they had the unboxed game. They had the unboxed game in Laval, Quebec, and that's an 11,000 seat arena, and they had 9,000 for an exhibition. Like, why put the team there? There's trains and bus routes that drop people off right at the arena. What more could you want? And it's not the biggest market. You can call it Montreal, call it whatever you want.
Yep.
But put the team where it should be. And the same goes with Vegas. Like, they're right on the strip there somewhat, and now they moved off the strip, and now they're thriving there. And that, again, that's through hard work. Their executive there won the executive of the year the other day, so credit to him for putting in the work, and and that's paying off. So and that's the other thing too, is just making sure you have the right people in place to succeed. Like, we talk about executives, like in Halifax, you got John Catalano there. He's done a tremendous job, and even the others there that are there full time, like Mackie, she's doing a lot of the work, and you just got to have the right people and good people around. So, but I think we need to find the right centers first before we get to a TV deal. TV deal doesn't do nothing if the arenas are empty.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair point, man, for sure. So anyway, that's okay. So do you have anything else you want to say before we get out of here, man? I kept you for probably longer than I should have.
What do you think is going to happen this weekend?
I think we're going to see 3 games. If everything goes properly, or like every team, if both teams are playing at top notch, I do have Toronto winning, but it's really going to be a goaltender battle. Nick Rose is, there's lots of narratives that he likes to choke in big time situations. He's never won a championship. I don't think Warren Hill's never won a championship. So this is a big legacy game for both teams. And I've been, like I said, I was pretty high on Halifax all season, at the same as Toronto. So I'm kind of torn right now, to be honest with you. But I'd probably lean towards Toronto slightly right now, with them having the extra home game as well.
I'm going to stop you there. Is it truly a home game for Toronto?
Yeah, that's fair. I knew that was coming. Yeah, so that's the thing. I mean, I went there. I went to Hamilton this year for a game, and I seen the Bandits play, and I can tell you there was a lot of Bandits fans in there, and I think it was one of the most. I think it was one of the most attended games all season. So I expect it to be quite almost sold out, if not sold out there, to be honest with you.
See,
everybody.
I think they should open up the upper bowl. Maybe not maybe not all of it, but open it up to what is available for seating. And
yeah, absolutely.
And I don't know if they will. I compare it to like San Francisco 49ers going to SoFi and playing the Rams. Like it's a blue stadium, but it's all red sweaters. And I think that's what's going to happen this weekend in Hamilton with Thunderbirds coming in. Six Nations is right there, Thunderbird country, and I think it's going to be a 50-50 split, if not 60-40 for Thunderbirds fans.
Well, I'd be surprised if they don't open up the top, because I know during the Buffalo game it was opened. They had fans up there.
Yeah, so hopefully they do.
Expect it.
Obviously, good for ticket sales and whatnot.
Yeah.
Halifax, I believe, is sold out, if not close to it, for game 2 Sunday. If it gets to a 3, then they definitely need to open up that top bowl for everybody. And I think that arena would be packed.
I will say that I've been to Halifax game this year, and I've been to a Toronto game, and I will say the atmosphere in Halifax is better. Like it's pumping there, man. And it's got the East Coast feels to it. I was there the opening night, so I actually seen the Indigenous night as well, and my wife's native, so I have more appreciation for that cultural stuff, so the drummers and stuff like that. So I thought it was really cool. But I can tell you, Halifax is, in my opinion, the best atmosphere in the league.
Yeah, them in Bandit
Buffalo,
Land.
but
Buffalo's Buffalo. Yeah. There's few things in lacrosse that get me pumped up for a game more than the guy coming down the thing with the bagpipes. Man, I love that. Like, I look at that like I do like NCAA football. They all have their Virginia Tech coming out to Enter Sandman, stuff like that. Just get me going, fire me up. Let's go.
Two cultures coming together, like the East Coast culture and the native culture coming together, and you get a bit of everything in there. Like I'm a big Heave Away guy and stuff like that. I love that they rock that song, and it's just, I know some people don't like that, but I love it, and it's very East Coast, and it has that feel, and they do a lot of the native stuff.
Yeah, it's such a great market, man. Like you said it before, like they're craving for something. We came in at the same time as the soccer team, I believe came in at the same time, and at that time I think they're talking about the CFL coming there too. I don't think that happened.
That's been a rumor for a long time.
Yeah, so Halifax will always be a top market in the NLL, and even junior hockey, the Moose has done such a great job there, and I don't want to agree with you, but I think I do agree with you with a 3-game series here. It's going to be, I think game 1's going to overtime. I think it's going to be first 1 to 8. I think it's going to be a low scoring.
Okay.
And game 2, I think it's going to open up, maybe a 15-14, something like that. And then game 3, I think somebody's just going to shellac somebody and run away with it right away. So.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, though. Whoever wins this championship is going to be my official team, because I said I was going to pick a team for playoffs, and I was going to run with it. And if they won the championship, that would be my team. I'm going to do the same, because I've been rooting for both these teams all season. So I'm like, and I'm like, you know what? Originally, I said whoever won between Toronto and Halifax when they played was going to be my team. Now I feel like it's fate, so I'm gonna whoever wins this championship is my team, and I'll get a tattoo right here. Just I got my leaf, my Toronto Maple Leaf here, so I'll be
Leaf
doing the whole
fan.
9 yards. So yeah,
Leaf fan.
unfortunately, yeah, absolutely.
That's all right. That's all right.
First overall pick softened the blow a little bit this year. So.
That's all right. What did you think about the award winners?
Like okay, well, I mean, I mean, I thought a lot of them were good. Like, I mean, Brett Dobson, obviously goalie of the year. I think that was a no-brainer. Zach Currier, I thought he was a no-brainer. I've been getting a pushback on that, though. A lot of people just say he's too offensive, and he comes out the front door. I thought he was a clear winner for transition of the year, though. I would have liked to see Brad Cree win over Callum Jones. Nothing against Callum Jones. I just found that he second half of the season kind of wasn't like the first half. So I would say Brad Cree. Like when I do my weekly podcast, I do weekly awards, and I gave Brad Cree the Defensive Player of the Week like 6 times, I think it was, or something. So I just find he's a huge part of the reason Toronto is sitting where they're sitting. So yeah, other than that though, I think overall the executive stuff I find I don't have enough of a knowledge to really have an opinion on that stuff. But everything else I've seen pretty good so far.
Yeah, I think I agree with you on the defensive player of the year. I as good as he was, his team didn't make the playoffs, so that's where I kind of draw my line there. And
Yeah.
Courier, I think English should have taken that one. You know, he was a true transition guy.
Yeah.
And then
The fact that he wasn't up for Rookie of the Year is
Yeah.
actually what I was shocked about.
and yeah, that's a big snub there. But even going back to Courier, I think he was a snub for MVP because he literally
Yeah.
dragged San Diego to the playoffs.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's no Keegan Ball deserves to be an MVP. He had a great year. Dauber, obviously, he's good. He's probably winning it. And no offense to Dane, but I thought Courier was much better than Dane this year.
I don't know though, Dane in that last run with the second half of that season or whatever, where they started really winning. I found Dane was a massive part of that though. That's the only thing that I was like I could see Dane being in there, but I can also see now that you make the case for Courier, I also can see he really should have been at least nominated.
Yeah.
And Dane's had it, he's
Yeah.
won it a few times and stuff. So
Yeah, and then, you know, like talking to Jake Elliott yesterday about it, like going back to Sam English, like he's going to win his transition of the year probably 5-6 times. And then there's going to be the case where he becomes Courier, where he just becomes a full-blown O guy. You know, I honestly think he's going to be up for MVP in 5 years' time. Like he's such a great player. It's crazy that he wasn't. I can see why he wasn't nominated for Rookie of the Year. You know, he got Nolan Byrne, CJ, and Grace. It's tough, but somebody was going to get the snub.
yeah.
And
Yeah, and I think if whoever you left out was going to get snubbed. I think it's CJ Kerr's award to win, but I think those three either Nolan Byrne was just amazing too.
yeah, my heart says CJ, but I think it's going to go to Byrne.
I wouldn't. You can't really. I mean, what he did in Georgia and the way he really kind of turned into their offensive guy, almost like Lyle had
Yeah.
his games and stuff like that. But I can see it for sure. And CJ, you can argue that CJ had more.
He did have more help.
around him.
Yep. And
Right.
and
So
like you
and Mark Matthews to take off some of some of that pressure.
then you look at game 3 with Georgia, like who did they miss?
Yep.
Nolan Byrne.
Yep.
So he was, and it was nothing against Ecclestone. Like he still scored his goals, but you know, you look at Byrne being out, and it was such a dynamic guy that was missing from the roster, and you know, it was a glaring hole there for them. But you know, Georgia will be back. They got, you know, Dauber's going to be there for a long time. They got Byrne. Richie O'Connell had a great playoff. He kind of a coming out party for him on the left side too with Byrne, and then Ecclestone's no slouch either. They got, you know, Lyles around and Caleb Benedict coming up. They'll be back, and their defense is really young, so they'll have a good team going forward. But yeah, I think Byrne will get rookie. My heart says CJ. Like I love the kid. I had the fortunate opportunity to work with him when he played for U.S. lacrosse or Team USA at the Worlds there 2 years ago in Utica, and such a great kid, man. Like all the brothers, man. Like they remind me of the Hansons from Slapshot.
Yeah.
So like if we're coming back from dinners or whatever, and like CJ, Connor, and there's a few other guys. They're just sitting there playing their board games in the hotel lobby, and whether it's Catan or some other games, like they're just sitting there playing, like, "What's up, coach? What's up, coach?" And they just remind me of the Hansons playing.
Well, it's crazy. There's so many of them that they're all just so elite.
Yeah, and then their younger brother Caden's coming up too. He's a goalie, but I don't think he's boxed, but
Yeah.
That's a credit to their mom too for raising such great kids. With the passing of their father young, and all the boys getting Division I scholarships to the NCAA. Like that's a massive credit to that mother.
Absolutely. I mean, you did something right if you've done that with so many different kids.
Yeah. So and they're all great kids, all great people, and got nothing but good things to say. So.
Well, man, CJ Kurtz is a special player. A lot of people doubted him coming in, and I can tell you he's brought something to the game that I think is gonna change it in a better way.
So so I got one for you now. You're talking about CJ and Americans.
Yeah.
Joey Spallina, is he going to be number one?
I mean, I think so. I would think so. But there are some people that don't think so.
I know.
I've been told if it's an East Coast team, it will be. If it's a West Coast team, it won't be.
Because of Silas?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, again, working with Joey, like he's such a great kid. He's a sponge, wants to learn the game, loves the game, and I think he's going to be something special in this league. Same with Silas Richmond. Like you watch him at Albany and even in Summer Box, like he's such a dynamic player. Honestly, they're both 1A, 1B to me, and you got Tanner Thompson and Matt Collison behind them. It's going to be such a good draft, and when we made the Casey trade for Casey Wilson, I was like, it's like, man, if this doesn't pay off for us, we're going to lose out on one of these guys. But same breath, we did get Casey, who arguably could have went first overall last year if he did not have his injury, right? So, we traded our, I guess, what did we fall to now? 7th overall. So that'll go to Vegas, but 7th overall for a first, second overall player. That's a good deal for us, right? So,
I mean, he's special. I mean, like just from what I've seen so far in play, he's stepped right in and made a big difference. Especially losing a player like Tyson Bell because he's so good. But it's that's the thing. That's the difference. Those moves are the difference that make you a championship team.
Yeah, and nobody talks about the big trade that Halifax made, and that's getting Trevor Smith back from injury.
Yep.
That's the trade you don't have to make, and he just comes back and stabilizes the back end, and he's such a good player, especially side by side with Hasek, right? So,
are you guys going to be taking a swing at Lyle this year?
For what? Chiefs?
For he's a free agent, isn't he? No,
or
for
Halifax.
Halifax. Yeah. Do you think they you guys take a swing at him or no?
I mean, a conversation will probably be had if he hits the market. Again, that's got to happen for that conversation to happen. But I think if things were different in Georgia and they didn't make the playoffs and they didn't have the year, I don't think he's entertaining going back. But now that they had a great season and things are looking really, really good there. So I think I don't know if he's going to hit free agency, to be honest.
And even to mentor Nolan Byrne, it's I don't know what kind of relationship they've built, but I'm sure they're pretty close just because of how talented they are and stuff like that. So and it'll be interesting to see.
And but again, you got to look at the righties that are currently in Halifax, right? You got Randall, you got Hogarth that didn't play this year, which is crazy where we are.
Yeah.
Who else?
No chance we see him this finals.
Probably not. You got Randy, Hogarth, Bomber that can go both ends, Casey Wilson, and now you got Alex Marinier still coming in.
Yep, and he's supposed to be really good too.
Yeah, he's a top five. I honestly, going into the draft, I had him with right up there with Casey and CJ for the top 2-3 picks.
Well, a lot of people said that he would have been in that if he was ready to go this year.
Yeah, he's such a dynamic player, man. Like he's so good. I think he's going to fit in right away. And then now it's just a matter of finding him a spot. Does he got to start out the back end if everybody's back, or does he got to, it's a good problem to have. And, like he's going to go, we talk about senior A ball, like he's going to go play, him and Will McLeod are going to be in Brooklyn playing with Mark Matthews and learning from guys like that this summer. So I'm excited for that for him, especially for his learning curve and bringing that to Halifax. And then again, it's just, again, what do you do with when you bring in a guy like, if you brought in a guy like Lyle, like, does it make sense? Because at the end of the day, there's only one ball, right?
Yeah.
Oh, Clark Peterson's the other one.
Yep.
So
I mean,
what do you forgetting about our leading scorer? Like what do you do? Like there's literally one ball. Then you got to talk about the left side.
Yep.
When are they going to get their touches with this right side?
No, I mean, I get it, man. It's almost a better problem to have, right? You have too many guys, and you can always move pieces around, but it gets into who do you move, what happens, all that stuff. So it'll be interesting, but I have a lot of trust in you guys because you guys made moves that I think made the team better this year that I questioned and a lot of people questioned.
Then the problem you get into that with bringing in guys and you got a log jam, then you're not going to get your true. If you got to move a guy, you're not going to get their true value from them because teams know that you have to move them. So
exactly.
There's a lot of trust me. There's a lot of thought that goes into all this stuff, and that's something that myself I think about daily. And me myself and Scott Campbell, we go back and forth quite a bit on a lot of this stuff, just kind of mapping out what the team looks like in 2027, 2028, and just try to play almost like we're just playing chess at this point, and just kind of plug and play and see what's going to fit in what year and where we need our draft picks. And that's another reason we grabbed the 28 pick, because we do have guys that are getting up there in age. So at some point we do need to get younger, and we're starting that right now. But again, that's just trying to do the job of getting younger and still being competitive at the same time, so we don't have to go through the full rebuild.
Yep. Yeah, no, you guys. When I was looking at your draft stock and everything, like you have good draft stock. You've got good, like you've got a Clark Peterson who's one of the best players in the league.
Yep.
And then that's 28 years old, and then you've got the veteran guys. You've got some younger guys coming up. Like I think you guys are set up really nicely, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and just hoping that Warren's back and he stays at that level he's at, or Hutch or Getty come in and play at that high level too, just to keep us competitive. So, and you know what, goalies are the toughest ones to come by, right? You just never know, and it's not like, I think a lot of us are kicking ourselves for not drafting a Del Bianco or Doug Jamieson right away when we all probably should have. But I think that might be a priority in a few years' time, where we do identify a goalie that we do need to get. But it's just a matter of finding that one and investing in it and going after them. So. But
yeah, no, absolutely.
I do think that we're set up for the future very, very good, and hopefully we get the championship this year and we can focus on the rest later.
Yeah, no, man. Like I said, I've obviously wearing the Toronto jersey, but to be honest with you, if either team wins, I'm going to be happy, because I think that, like I said, I think this is a big legacy game, and I think that either way, Nick Rose winning a championship is going to be great, but also Warren Hill and just the guys over in Halifax. I know they have one from Rochester and stuff, but
there's not many. I think it's just Jammer.
No, yeah, exactly. It's kind of one of those things that I would and just for Halifax as well. I think Halifax as a city also deserves a championship like that. I'm torn here for sure.
Yeah, I think when you look at it from a league-wide perspective, I think the championship would benefit Halifax more in the long run. You know, like
Yeah.
we're we got a pretty solidified fan base right now, but I think it would just put it out more over the top that if Halifax won the championship this year, and especially at our peak now, like we're started selling out last year, and then going into this year, I believe quite a few sellouts there, and you know, I'd love it if Sunday night is the night that the cup's raised in Halifax by Halifax, but
Yeah.
I'll still take game 3.
If they get the game 1, I think they're probably
Yeah.
going to get game 2.
I
can't see Toronto coming in and beating Halifax in Halifax, to be honest with you. But we'll see what happens. But it's going to be a grind, man.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Everybody else should be too.
Yeah.
It's going to be some of the best lacrosse that the NLL has provided in a long time, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
Up and down,
Yeah.
skilled, good goalies, and we'll probably see some good defensive battles, and we'll probably see one shootout. So
Yeah, okay. I'll keep that in mind. Absolutely, man. So, okay. Well, anyway, is there anything else you want to touch on before we get out of here?
no, I'm good. I'm like I said, I'm always good to come talk lacrosse whenever I have the ability to, and I'll talk lacrosse all day long with anybody. So
Yeah, man. I feel the same way. I just my brother-in-law. I always sit there and we'll talk for like an hour and a half about lacrosse because it's like when you find somebody that in the wild. I always say that you likes lacrosse. You can't really just talk about it with anybody. Right?
Yeah.
So. You probably have a little bit more of an advantage than I do, but I
Yeah.
find I have a hard. There's not too many guys that are. I am converting people. I've converted a few people that I brought down to games, and they've become fans and stuff. But it's definitely just exposure.
are you making your way down to Six Nations this summer?
Yeah, I will be. I come down every year, and I went to a ILA game for the first or a game at the ILA this last summer. I went and seen the preseason, or back in September. I seen the
Okay.
preseason Georgia versus Ottawa. I thought it was really awesome. Like it's a special experience in there. My brother-in-law was like, "You've never been to the ILA?" And I was like, "No," but so yeah, I'll definitely be. I want to come see a Chiefs game. I'd like to come see some Arrows games. I'm gonna check out my nephew's playing Junior C
Yep,
this
yep.
year, so I'll probably go see one of his games while I'm there.
Yeah, they had a hot.
And
They've had a hot start too. The Junior C team here.
Yeah, he's like he's like I was talking to him like, you're gonna play Junior B this year because I mean he was a 2 point guy in Junior B
Mm-hmm.
from my seeing his stats, and he's just a little small, right?
Yeah.
But
I saw him play. I saw him play in the Arrows inter squad game in April,
Yeah.
and he did well there too. Like,
Yep.
he's not a he's not gonna stand out by any means, but he's not gonna hurt you. He's a good little player.
No, exactly, and that's kind of what he is. But he's like I just want to be kind of part of the leadership team for Junior C, and it's the last year, so he's just kind of doing that. So I'm like, hey man, good for you.
Well,
and yeah,
The big question: did you get chicken rat?
I didn't get that last time, but I'm
Oh,
going to
man.
this year. I'm 1,000. That's what my brother-in-law said too, and I was actually supposed to go down to another game, and then that you had that like they had that ice storm,
Right.
freak ice storm or whatever, and I was like, it's not worth driving the 45 minutes from Brantford for there. So, but yeah, definitely going to be coming to see. I'll be a few games. I was told that I have to get the chicken wrap. I know, so definitely gonna get that next time.
All right. Next, let me know when you're down, and I'll make sure I'll come pay for it for you. I'll get you one.
No, I would love to just shoot the shit with you and hang out. That'd be great, man. So definitely I'll shoot you a message when I'm on, like when I'm headed down there. It'll be the first week of July, like Canada Day or
Yep,
Canada
yep.
Day that time.
Yep, I'm around.
So and I've heard I have to basically camp out to get to a Chiefs game. So we'll see.
No. Well, playoffs, later playoff games maybe, but
Okay.
no, you can walk up.
Okay. Cool.
I got key to the arena. You can just let you in.
Okay. Cool. I'll shoot you a message. I just need a media pass for Halifax now. That's another thing.
That's above my pay grade.
Okay. All right, man. So we'll get out of here. Thanks for jumping on, and I'm sure we'll talk soon.
Sounds good. Appreciate it.
All right, I want to say thank you to Jake for Mr. Henhawk, for Jake Henhawk for coming out and getting on the podcast again. Like I said before, he's just such a knowledgeable guy in the sport, been around for so long, and just has so many connections in the Halifax ecosystem. And I'm sure we're going to see bigger and better things coming out of him still. I wouldn't be surprised to see him as a GM one day, man. He's so smart, like just picking his brain was just, it's really different coming from hockey because shout out, I am starting a hockey podcast with my buddy just to get it off my chest. This is the number one draft pick, getting the number one draft pick for the Leafs has revitalized me a little bit. So I want to be able to talk about hockey again. So I'm starting a podcast with that. You guys can follow that channel and I'll throw it up. I'll throw the thing up on here, but I'm about to put that out tonight actually. And then this will be out Thursday, this podcast. But so it will be up if you wanted to go listen to me yap about hockey. But lacrosse is my number one. As much as I've told you guys before, as much as I love hockey and I never thought this day would come, lacrosse is my number one sport. Like I would, if I could only play one sport on one TV and every sport was on, I would play box lacrosse over everything else. And I know some people think that's probably crazy. I don't. I love this game, and I thought it would be hockey till the day I die. And as much as I love hockey, as much as I love my Leafs, I love box lacrosse more. I really do. And it's crazy for me to say that. It really, I never thought that would have came. I still love the Leafs. Okay. As much as I'm toxic, I'm in the cult, all that stuff. So I'll talk about that on the other podcast. But yeah, I just want to say thanks, Jake, for coming out. And like I said, I think I've kind of made a friend for life. I think there. I always say that about a lot of the guys that I interview because when it's as you guys, if anybody's listening at this point, is like you guys obviously like listening about lacrosse, and I like listening about lacrosse, talking to people about it. And it's not like when I said this, I was like, it's different with lacrosse because in like hockey, you can like talk to everybody can talk hockey for the most part. If you're a guy and you can, even if you're not a huge hockey fan, you still kind of know what's going on a little bit, like the Leafs or Montreal or whatever. With lacrosse, like nobody really knows lacrosse. Like nobody, like they're like, what's box lacrosse? So with that being said, I'm pumped for this. So yeah. So anyway, so thank you for Jake. So anyway, when I get on, when you end up talking to somebody about lacrosse, you end up just talking. You could talk for hours. Like I could have sat there with Jake 4 hours and talked. And he's one of the few. He's one of the few. Like I want to say, I don't even know if I'd call him a personality because I think he's more than that. He's way more integrated into the game than just being a personality. But he's a guy that's in lacrosse full time. Let's just put it that way. He works lacrosse and that's how he makes his money, right? So that's I think that's what everybody tries to aspire to do, right? If you can do something you love and get paid for it, you're fucking banging. So thanks, Jake. Again, he'll be on again. This will not be the last time you're going to see him on here. You can check him out on Lacrosse Classified and you can check him out on the Creators Game. So he's going to be everywhere. And I know he's got some big stuff coming out as well. And I'm not going to spoil that because it's not my news to drop. But when he drops it, I'll definitely be promoting it because I like to, anybody who's my friend or anybody who's like anybody who comes on my podcast, man, and gives me the time, I like to try to placate. So, if it's me sharing something or whatever I can do to help the people that kind of come on here and give me the chance to talk to them, I really like to help them out. So with all that being said, thanks for being on here again and glad to be here or glad to have you. So thanks, Jake. All right, so let's get right into the actual core of this episode now that we're done here. So we talked about the NLL. It's coming to an end. Through the awards, I guess we'll do first. First off, we had Media Person of the Year. Graham Perro won that. Mackie Jenner and Ashley Docking were the finalists. Honestly, like I said, anybody could have won this. I just really think Graham, with what he does, he not only does he not get paid to do everything he does, but he also spends his own money in order to keep that site going. So to keep it free for everybody to use. And like I can tell you right now, there is nobody more deserving than him. Mackie had an amazing year. She will win this award. There is no doubt in my mind that Mackie Jenner will win this award. Same as Ashley Docking. Those two are going to win this award. I guarantee. Gives me the opportunity to talk to them. I'm a big loyal guy, and I'll ride for you. So, nothing against Mackie or Ashley. I think they're both amazing at their job. I always say with Mackie especially, but Ashley as well. Both these women, as much as they're amazing female reporters and broadcasters and whatever else they want to do, sideline interviewers, whatever they do is amazing. Just putting them, not even in females, but just in broadcasting, they are one of the better broadcasters out there. Mackie's one of my favorites to listen to. Ashley is also absolutely amazing. And both these females are great. But Graham Perro, man, the NLLstats.com, the way he tweets everything out. Like the guy's amazing. His life, he lives, eats watching him play lacrosse. It's pretty amazing. He's definitely more of a goon, I will say that. He could definitely everything's gotten a lot better in the last year and He's really found his own love for lacrosse. And I know I talked about this before, but I don't ever want to push my dreams onto him. So I just want him to find his own thing. So if it's lacrosse, great. And I can hopefully, maybe help him get to the doors. I never say I'm going to, obviously I would never, nobody's going to care what I think anyway, but I don't ever want to use my position to try to, let's get him on a team. Like I want him to win it off of merit, 1,000. But back to Graham. Graham deserves this award. Tom Borelli Award, 2026. Guy's absolutely amazing. I know there were, from what I heard through the grapevine, was there were a lot of guys that were like, there were a lot of guys who were really like climbing for him, like going to bat for him. Like Graham needs to win this hands down, right? And he deserves it. Like I said, I don't think there's anyone in lacrosse that's going to deny him this. He deserves it. Well earned, buddy. And you've been amazing. I'm sure his phone blew up. I texted him, and Graham's not the best with texts anyway, but I sent him a message and just said, "Hey man, I'm really proud of you. You earned this, man." So anyway, okay, so let's go move on. Sportsmanship award goes to Ryan Keenan. Again, this one's hard for me to have an opinion on, but I will say that, but hopefully it goes to, I'm sure again, this one's well deserved. Got executive of the year is Jonah Haas, which again, this one's one that I'm not going to try to speak on this because I don't know enough about the internals to do this. But if you look at how Vegas they had a couple sellout games this year, they're building over there. They've done a great job. And I think Vegas is a great team too, right? So I think that again, I'm assuming this is a great thing. Brad Self for the Colorado Mammoth. I mean, I personally, this one, he brought in some really good pieces. Is Colorado way better than they were last year? I think so. So I think for that reason, it makes sense. General Manager of the Year, no big deal. I could have seen a couple other guys win it, but at the end of the day, I'm fine with that. Coach of the Year, Pat Coyle, Colorado again. Nothing against Pat Coyle. I think this team wasn't projected to even make the playoffs by a lot of people. I think I had them at 10-8 or something, which is, I think, right around where they finished, if I'm not mistaken. But they definitely a great coach. Pat Coyle's an amazing coach. I just think Ed Camo should have won this award, in my opinion, just because of what he did with Georgia. And that's just my opinion on this one. Semifinals. So you had 3 stars of the semifinals, by the way, which was Sam English with 5 goals, 5 assists and 29 loose balls, Clark Peterson with 4 goals and 23 assists, and Shane Jackson with 7 goals, 13 assists. So crazy. Contender of the year, Brett Dobson. This was a no-brainer. As much as like Delbs was great this season and Dylan Ward was great this season, Nick Rose, Warren Hill, there was some great goalies here. Brett Dobson, hands down, historic season. Drug Georgia to the semis. And nothing against them, but the offense was too inconsistent. And I think we'll go into the transition to player of the year in a minute, but I think goalie of the year I think this was the easiest award to crown this year, to be honest with you. Defensive player of the year, Callum Jones. Callum Jones had a great start to the season. It's finished off a little slow. I personally would have liked to see Brad Cree here. Even on my, you guys know, if you follow this show for a little while, I've given Brad Cree the defensive player of the week a ton of times. I know I was doing it for Callum Jones the first half of the season quite a bit. He got it a couple times, but Brad Cree for me was the defensive player of the year. Callum Jones had a great year. There's nothing to talk about, but his team didn't make the playoffs. And when you look at what Toronto's done, I just think Brad Cree should have won it. And nothing against Callum. Still a fantastic win by this guy, and he had a great year, to be honest with you. So also Michael Grace could have won that award as well, in my opinion. It is what it is. Transition player of the year, Zach Curie. To me, this was like a no-brainer. I was like, yeah, this makes sense. A lot of people said because he played out the front door, he's not really a transition player. That's a debate for the ages, I guess, to be honest with you. I personally think he's a great transition player. I think he's the best transition player, and I get what you're saying, where he got a lot of points. It's a shout out to Jake for this one. He should have been in the conversation for MVP. I do have to say that, considering, and I have to agree with Jake on this one. He's the one that said this to me. That makes a lot of sense to me, to be honest with you, is him for MVP, because without him in San Diego, would San Diego be where they were? And absolutely not. They wouldn't be. And that's the thing. And like, I just find that he's just so good all the way around. And then we had Offensive Player of the Year, Keegan Ball, that finished top in points, unsung hero almost. Doesn't get as much of attention as like a Jeff Teat or anything like that, but quietly just absolutely kills it, man. Like, he kills it. And like I said, when they brought in all those guys this season, I said Keegan Ball to me is still the best player on the team offensively, still the best player on the team. And right here, it shows it. You know what I mean? So, okay, so Rookie of the Year went to, sorry, I didn't even notice this came out today, actually. Rookie of the Year went to CJ Kirst. Obviously, you know, it's hard to not give it to him, to be honest with you. How do you not? With this season he's had, it was absolutely amazing, and well deserved. Now, in another year, in another different year, Nolan Byrne could have won this award, right? No problem. And Sam English is the only one that I think got snubbed. But again, if you didn't snub Sam English for Rookie of the Year, you would have snubbed Michael Grace, you would have snubbed Nolan Byrne. So I get it. It's for a finalist. It is what it is. And then we've got only 2 other goalies have done it. We got Brett Dobson as the MVP, guys. MVP. And this is the thing, guys. I didn't want to say it, but the NLL saying here. So now I'm just going to say it. He's got to be in the conversation for the best goalie in the world, hands down. Now, I don't want to start talking GOAT yet. NLL does have it here. The type of season that puts you in the GOAT conversation. Let's slow down a little bit here, because you got Matt Vince that's won 6 championships and all that stuff. So I don't know if we could really call it a GOAT yet. I will say that. But I will say that I'm getting to that point now too. I just want to see him do it again. Like, maybe not this to this point, but a lot of people think that he's going to fall off, and I just don't think he's going to fall off. I think that he has maybe not quite the level caliber maybe of this season, but at the same time, if he did, I wouldn't be surprised. Like, Brett Dobson is, if you look at him, especially if you look at his field, he's such a good field goalie. And then you've got on top of that now, you've got him just elevating his game up to as a box goalie as well. So he is just the best goalie in the world, hands down. But even the box goalie, I think he squeaks out over Delbs now. I really do. Now, head to head, Delbs got him this season. That's the only thing. So this is going to be a debate now. I'm a Dobson guy. I know lots of people that are Delbs guys, and I gotta go with my boy Dobson though. Dobson's the best goalie in the world right now. Best box goalie in the world and the best goalie. So you have your all NLL first team, which is Keegan Ball. You've got Dane Smith. You got Callum Jones. You got Brett Dobson in net. You got Zach Currier, and then you got Sam English. That's huge. You got Sam English as a rookie on there. Crazy. Absolutely killing it. And then you got the all NLL second team. You got Andrew Hugh. You got Jeff Teat. You got Ryan Dilks on defense. You got Mitch DeSnew on defense, even though he had a little bit he obviously missed some games, but still absolutely crazy. Great game. And then you got Jordan McIntosh on the transition, and then you got Delbs in net, which is obviously great. Makes a lot of sense. Kind of a little disrespectful to a couple other goalies, but I mean, I think right now you got Brett Dobson, Delbs at 1-2 for sure. And then 3, like it's toss up. So all rookie team. Oh God, boys, you got. So on the rookie team is Nolan Byrne. You've got, what do you got? You got Nolan Byrne, Sam English, Jackson Fridge, which is unsung hero, honestly. He doesn't get enough credit because he's on Oshawa, but he had a really good season too. Michael Grace, you got Owen Hiltz, and then you got CJ Kirst for all rookie team, which, I mean, you can't really, it's hard to argue that, right? And that's a stud. What a great rookie class we've seen this season. And I wonder if, are we ever going to see a rookie class this clean again? First game in the MSL is May 18th. So let me think this through here. Monday, May 18th. So that's Mondays. Actually, Monday, the games start. Okay. So you have 7 teams in the MSL. It's the Brooklyn Lacrosse Club, which I've heard Frick talk about, and he's pretty excited about them. You got Coburg Kodiaks, Peterborough Lakers, Six Nations Chiefs, Brampton Excelsiors, Owen Sound North Stars, and Oakville Rock. Let's just run over the guys who are, So I'm just going to run through the actual roster guys, I guess, and then there's a bunch of affiliate guys. I'll just run through some names. So we're starting out with the Owen Sound North Stars. Remember, these games start Monday, okay? So we got Calder Adams, Curtis Arnold. I'm just going to run through anybody who's doesn't have flags on them, right? So this is an affiliate. So we're not going to talk about anybody that's affiliate. We're just going to talk about the roster guys, okay? So we got Austin Bloomberg. You got Tyler Brown. You got Tanner Buck. You got Joel. You got Xander Durkatz. Jake Gasparetti, who's a transition guy. You got Mitch Gustavin, Curtis Hall, Tyler Halls, Jamie Hunt, Cooper Jackson, Noah Lieber, Braden Maya, Luke McGrath, Noah Millsap, Isaiah Moore Weeks, Connor Knock, Colton Paget, Jake Rosa, Josh Rosa, Josh Sanchez, Jeremy Searley, Hayden Summer Thompson, Cole Teeple, Dylan Watson, Jackson Webster, and Mitch Wild. So some couple big names on there, but to be honest with you, I'm gonna tell you right now, boys. Let's go into the Six Nations. Let's look at the Six Nations Chiefs next. Here we go. Okay, so Six Nations Chiefs. This is stacked. Okay, this team's a super team. You got Tyson Bell, Tyler Biles, Brandon Bomberry, Josh Byrne, Tim Edwards, Latrell Harris, my God, Shane Jackson, Cody Jamieson, Brad Cree, Kellen LeClaire. He also got his little brother Liam, it looks like, on as an affiliate. Ian McKay, Matt Mariner, Justin Martin, Eli McLaughlin, Steve Priolo, Dane Smith, Ryan Smith, Randy Stotts, Larson Sundown, Carson Tarbell, Dawson Theed, Lyle Thompson, Non-Con Thompson. What? Oh, and sorry, they got Warren Hill and Doug Jameson in net. My God, boys. That is nasty, bruh. That is nasty, dude. That's nasty, brother. And I forgot to look at the Orange Stars, or North Stars, sorry. Caleb Martin is their goaltender in the North Stars. So that team, that's an uphill battle. They got an uphill battle. I don't mean any disrespect to anybody on that, but guys, come on. Like, you gotta see what I see, right? Like, I get it. What do I know? You've got, we're at the Oakville Rock now here. So you got Caden Brennan, Sheldon Burns, Josh Dawick, Luke Dawick, Brooks English, Ty English, holy shit, Tyler Hendricks, Bill Hostrader, Lucas Huckel, Brian Jackman, Adam J, Zach Kearney, Sam LeClaire, Jack McAfee, Phil Mazuka, Mike McConnell, Carson Moyer, Chad Palumbo, Luke Robinson. So, okay, Bowers, Switstun, Gavin Tiber, Jack Travos, and Chris Weir, and then you had Howachuk and Landon Kells in net for them. So that's funny. Anybody who's a reality TV junkie, Bauer guy was on Canada Shore. Hilarious guy. Definitely, like, I don't know how to explain it. Fit like, you could tell he's a fucking lax guy, or just like a hockey guy kind of deal. Here we looked at them. Let's look at the Brantford Excelsiors next. Or Brampton Excelsiors. Let's look at them. You've got, okay, so here we got Andrew Bogarty, Dante Bowen, Riley DeLille, Lucas Dudamine, Rory Graham, Bowie Horseman, Robert Hudson, Reed Kurtz, Bradley Maxwell, Connor McClelland, Kieran McKay, Jordan Medeiros, Josh Medeiros, Liam Patton, Keelan Pilon, Nate Ruff, Zach Sunderland, Keaton Thompson, and Tanner Thompson, Mike Triolo, Colton Tyson, Mark Van Scheppen, Seth Van Scheppen, Eric Ward, Mark Waters, James Whiteford, and Callum Whittam, and Riley Hutchcraft is the goalie here, as well as Lucas Nagy and Connor O'Toole. They've also got, Connor O'Toole. I don't know what Connor O'Toole's doing, actually. Anyway, so there's Brantford Excelsiors, and let's see. So let's look at Brooklyn here, Mr. Fricky. So this is the Fricks fellas, bud. These are the Fricks fellas right here. I'm sure some of them are anyway. We got roster. Here we go. So I just want to, before I start looking through this roster, from what Frick says, this team's going to compete this year. So let's see what we got here. Because I can tell you right now, from the rosters I've seen so far, Chiefs are running away with this right now. You got Ryan Barnable, Spooshie, Mike Byrne, Nick Chorosky, Igor Clark, Tough Sky and Leak, Bo Columbus, Aaron Cook, Jake Darlson, Lynn Garland. They also have Jake Hickey affiliated, just showing that out there. Brady Kiernan, Connor Kiernan, Luke Keenan, Curtis Knight, John LaFontaine, Justin Lee, Will McLeod, Ryan McCory, Riley O'Connor, Liam Osborne, Devin Pfeiffer, Dylan Robinson, Justin Robinson, Nicholas Volkov, Ryan Wagner, Kyle Waters, Colton Watkinson. Our boy Christian's on there. Christian Watts is affiliated. Sean Wesley, Michael White, Owen Wells, Nate Woods, Zach Young. So there you guys go. Okay, well, you know what? Who are the goalies again? Who are the goalies? Did I look at the goalies? Sorry, the goalies are, they have Tyden Redlick, Steve Orelman, Higgins, Lucas Coots. I think Zach Higgins. I'm a big fan of Zach Higgins. I know he didn't really have a great season this season. Let's be real. Let's look at the Lakers. I know they're another really competitive team all the time. So you have Colton Armstrong, Brody Burkhoff, Dustin Burkhoff, Holden Cartoni, Tate Catoni, Turner Evans, Matt Guillory, Austin Hazen, Thomas Hogarth. We'll see if he plays. Robert Hope, Dylan Hutchinson, Nolan Kenny, Holden Lowe's, Brad McCauley, Sam Milligan, Mitch Ogilvy, Alex Pace, Carter Pace, Johnny Pearson, Joey Rez, Mike Robinson, Braden Saris, Eric Shewall, Jordan Sturos, Justin Sykes, Adam Thistlewald, and Jake Withers. They've also got Ben Trumbull affiliated there. And then you got Drew Hudson in net and Nick Rose. Okay, I see you, Peterborough. Okay, so they're not bad either. They're not bad. That's a pretty good team. What am I missing here still? Okay, let's see. So now we got the Coburg Kodiaks. Okay, they got Nick Bafia, Cole Bagley, Caleb Bingley, Tom Collins, Caleb Connell, Tyler Dooley, Jared Downey, Nick Ellerin, Brock Haley, Jake Harrington, Logan Holmes, Rowan Kelly, Dante Kulas, Matt Mariner, Briley Maxwell, Kieran McKay, Marcus Michello, Lucas Osborne, Holden Patterson, Jeremy Phoenix, Nathan Poulette, Ethan Riggs, Curtis Romachurch, Kyle Stavley, Peyton Taz, Ty Thompson, Zach Thompson, Doug Udding, Andrew Vadenberg, Mark Waters, and Aaron Woods. And we've got Jackson Brown and Lane Herska. So again, this one to me, smaller market. Let's go with that. That's a nice way to put it. Maybe. Yeah. And I think that's all the teams that we went through, sir. So, I mean, to me, when I'm looking at this, no disrespect again, right? No disrespect. It's just to me, it just doesn't look like there's a lot of competitiveness in there. You got Peterborough in there, obviously. You've got the Oakville Rock that might be able to take a couple swings. A couple extra teams in there and stuff. But to me, honestly, I think it's going to be Chiefs again. Like, it's got to be. Look at their roster, bruh. Like, their roster is just absolutely killing it. Okay, now let's go look at the WLA. So there's standings. There is also 7 teams in the WLA. We have the Adirondacks. We have the Birds. We have the Lakers. We have the Sandbellies. We have the Shamrocks. We have the Thunder. And we have Timbermen. Okay, so we'll start with Coquitlam Adirondacks here. Armstrong, Ty Banks, Jalen Chaster, Robert Church, Ben Coghill, Matthew Delmonico, Tyler Garrison, Brian Gillies, Laszlo Henning, Riley Isaacs, Josh Jackson, Bobby Kidd III, Tyson Kirkness, Sean Jordan Magnuson, Aiden Marshare, Keen Moon. We've seen lots of big things out of him this year. Adam Noakes, James Ra, Jordan Roberts, Remo Shanudo, Thomas Semple, Max Semple, Robbie Turpin, and Clark Water. And then net, we have Christian Del Bianco. A lot of people say he's the best goalie in the league or in the world, right? So the GOAT, not the GOAT, but the best goalie right now. So that's the Adirondacks. So they look okay. Now the next one we have the Maple Ridge Birds. And we got Drew Andre, Reese Barnes, Rise Blake, Dagan Carlson, Carter Clark, Brandon Cleland, Peyton Cormier, Caden Doughty, Declan Fitzpatrick, Ryan Jones, Anthony Klarich, Adam Kennedy, Marcus Klarich, Braden Larry, Riley Lowen, Nash Moog, Mitchell Nolet, Tyler Pace, Rise Porteous, Ethan Quinn, Tor Renhold, Jackson Subak, and Garrett Winter. We love Jackson Subak too. You've seen what he did with Vancouver this year. And then you got Brandon Humphrey. They only got one goalie on roster right now, so maybe they'll bring somebody in. I'm not really sure, but yeah, there's 2. Then we got the Lakers. So we got the Burnaby Lakers. You got Rowan Burnell, Jack Charbonneau, Jacob Dunbar, Jackson Fridge, Kai George, Connor Goodwin, Finn Hudson Halliday, Aiden Hidson, Josh Kelly, Sam LaRue, Butch LaRue, Ben MacDonald, Jordan McKenzie, Mac Neeson, Cole Newton, Bailey Newton, Lucas Parson Quintio, Gordy Phillips, Halen Razuman, Isaac Richmond, Silas Richmond, Tommy Robinson, Ben Stewart, Ethan Techrist, and Thomas Vela. And I'm really interested to see Silas Richmond does. He's going to be number 1, number 2 this year, maybe. It depends on who all gets that first overall pick. I think is from what I'm hearing. If it's a West Coast team, it's going to be Silas. If it's an East Coast team, it's going to be Joey. But yeah. So next we got So next we got the New West Sandbellies. We've seen them in the finals last year. Crazy, absolutely killing it. So here's our roster this year. You got Noah Armitage, Drew Belgrave, Connor Cook, Jeff Cromwell, Hayden Dixon, Jordan Gillies, Brandon Goodwin, Jeff Henrique, Mitch Jones, oh my God, Preston Loophole, Dalton Loophole, Anthony Malcolm, Will Malcolm, Dylan McIntosh, Toru Moramitsu, Brat Mitsk, Lucas Nielsen, Jacob Roost, Axel Sanderson, Logan Shosh, and Ben Shen. And then in goalie, you had Justin Getty and Ashton Leclerc. So here we go again. Okay, so there you have it for them. So then we got the Shamrocks next. So weird. That's weird that they're the only ones like that, but okay. Oh, we got rosters. We got Tyler Burton. You've got Zach Mans. You've got Marshall King, Lloyd Derrick, Max Wilson, Cole Pickup, Patrick Dodds, Chris Wardle, Jesse King, Denton McDonald, Nick Preston, Dallas Wade, Ari Stevens, Kyle Pepper, Wade Nate, and Elijah Gass. Who's the goalie there? There we go. I don't think they have a goalie listed. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't see a goalie listed on here. So somebody tell me if I'm way off base there, but I don't see a goalie listed for the Shamrocks. So then we got the Langley Thunder. You got Jesse Gilpsey, Connor Robinson, Liam Ronan, Alex Lemieux, Nathaniel Kozanoff, Cordell Primus, Reese Callies, Chase Chavon, Tyson Johnson, Aiden Baker, Bailey Van Schuck, and Ben Van Sickler. What is it? Ben Vanderder. Oh my God. Ben Vanderderkley, Kyle Brunch, John Phillips, Evan Messenger, Zach Mason, Hudson Zelzenchuk. What? There's a 7 in his name. What the fuck? Temekset. I don't even know how to say this. I am so sorry. But Temek, Godfrensten, Evan Pattinson, Striker, Roloff, Trent Keller, Dante Kulis, Trayvon Hunter, and Okiko Keegan, Devin Piper, Liam Hogsett, Connor Watson, Frank Sheliano, Ryan Martell. I like it like this better. So there you have it. There's the Thunder, Lightning Thunder. Sheliano will be there. So finally we have the Nanaimo Timbermen, which is Nathan Ball, Andrew Bowman, Braden Boyle, Aiden Collery, Caleb Caesar, Matthew Firth, Josh Gabriel, Griffin Hall, Tristan Kirkham, Colton Listone, Noel Manning, Chase Miller, Joel Mullen, Jordan Neary, Lucas Olson, Luke Pitcher, Jack Royer, Ryan Sheridan, Max Skane, Aaron Skyer, Aiden Solomon, Graydon Susi, and Thomas Vason. Not a lot of names that I recognize in there. There's a lot of names that I don't recognize. Colby Bowman and Devin Shanahan. So I know Devin. So, okay. So there we have it. So there's the for you guys. Sorry about the pronunciations. I will get better at that. I promise. As you can see, if you go look at my videos from last year compared to this year for the NLL, you're going to see the same kind of progression out of this stuff too, right? First year, there's a lot of different names on there. But again, this looks like another couple teams are going to run the show in this and out west, 2 or 3, and the rest are going to be kind of just trying to fight for that middle, I guess. 3, I'm looking at the Ontario Series Lacrosse has already started. Right now, Brooklyn Merchants and Sick Nation Rivermen are both 2-0. Hamilton's 1-0. Owen Sound North Stars are 1-1. You also have Collingwood Crews at 1 loss. Belleville Kodiaks are at 2 losses, and Ensmore James Gang. What? Ensmore James Gang is 2 losses as well. So we'll keep an eye on this right now. Right now, I'm just gonna I just kind of read you off the standings. We'll leave it at that for right now because the season's so early. We'll definitely keep an eye on this. We'll just pop our heads in, see who the top scorers are next week and stuff like that when we do this. I want to go to the OJLL now. We're going through all these leagues real quick, guys. Let's see. In the OJLL, you have 6 teams. You have the Orangeville Northmen, the Mountaineers, the Manawatu Mountaineers, the Peterborough Lakers, Toronto Beaches, Whitby Warriors, and Brampton Excelsiors. Orangeville roster. We're not gonna, you know what? I'm not gonna really go through. I'm gonna run through the rosters real quick. I'm not gonna read off every name. I'm gonna read off names that I recommend, that I recognize. If there's anybody that you think that I'm missing, that you think stands out on each team that I'm not seeing, let me know. But so, like I said, the OJ schedule. We'll come back more next week then, because the first game is tonight. So let's go into. Now that we're sitting here, let's go into the ECJLL. So that starts tonight. So we'll be checking in with that one. I'm just gonna run through this real quick. I'm not really gonna look at the rosters, to be honest with you. So there's 8 teams in here. In the BCJLL H teams, you got the Burnaby Lakers, the Coquitlam Adirondacks, Delta Islanders, Langley Thunder, Nanaimo Timbermen, West Sandbellies, Port Coquitlam Saints, which we were big fans of them, obviously, and Victoria Shamrock. Schedule. There are some big names out here too, though. Don't get me wrong, but we're going to be looking. The first game is this Friday. So everything's starting to wind up here. So again, we'll be going into more of this year. First off, we know the Saints are going to go for a run. We know they really want it. Like, they have a ton of really good players. Like, Tui's in there, Josh Mills. Like, they got some boys over here, boys. So anyway, so we'll look into this more next week as well. We're just going to I'll run through everybody's stats. I'll run through I'm not going to go through team by team for each of these leagues, but I will go through top leaders, point leaders. I just want to check where these teams are. I'm going to go, basically, so also Friday, the RCJML, or hold on, what's the league? The RMLL Junior A. So I'll get that in a minute, but the RMJALL, there is 5 teams. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 5 teams. You have the Junior A Miners, you have the Junior A Mountaineers, you have the Junior A Raiders, you have the Junior A SWAT, and you have the Junior A Blizzards. I don't think these names are as cool. Just throwing that out there. And we've got, so same thing, I'll be going into this more next week as well. And then we've got the ECJLL as well. I want to check on them quick. East Coast Junior Lacrosse League. We know I told you we're going to be covering this because this is my neck of the woods. And I think there's some good players down here. Now, they're about a Junior B level, the top teams, for if you're comparing them to the other. If you're comparing them to the other, like Ontario, they're about a Junior B level. We'll play in the Founders with their Junior A team. So they start May 18th is when they start. So again, we'll come back to this. Junior A, I'm gonna run through this a couple different ways. So Junior A we have 6 teams. You have Dartmouth Bandits, Halifax Hurricanes, Smack Warriors, Sackville Sport Wheels, Wolves, St. John Rapids, which is the New Brunswick team, and then St. Mark's Bay Rebels. Very obviously a few. They also have Junior A females. So I didn't talk about this about anybody else, but there's 5 Junior A females. You've got the same thing, like Eastern Shore Breakers, Sackville Wolves, Halifax Hurricanes, Dartmouth Bandits, and St. John Rapids. And then you have Junior B. There's actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there's 8 teams in Junior B. You have Cape Breton Warriors. You've got the in the East Division, Metro Griffins, Pictou County Generals, Valley Thunder, and then the West Division, the Island Oaks, which is PEI, Fundy Riptide, Moncton Mavericks, and Cala Cardinals. So actually, the whole West Division is actually in New Brunswick. Well, New Brunswick and PEI. So Fundy would be New Brunswick, Moncton would be New Brunswick, and Cala would be New Brunswick. So that's pretty cool. And they've already had a game played. Mavericks lost, and then Fundy and Island Oaks won each. So I'll be going to I will be going to some of these games. Sport. I wait to see these guys. So the OJB, I do want to cover a little bit. I want to see the schedule here. They start May 3rd. So they start tonight too. So again, we'll be covering all this next week. We're just going to run through each of these real quick. There is in the OJBLL, there's a ton of teams. Well, there's 12 teams. The Akawaski Thunder, the Kanawaski Hunters, the Ironheads, the Halton Hills Bulldogs, the Barrie Bombers, the Mimico Mountaineers, Neopin Knights, Aurelian Kings, Gloucester Griffins, Green Gales, Newmarket Redbirds, and Brampton Excelsiors. So there you guys have it. It's an East versus West here. And they got the Six Nation Rebels in there now. Guelph Regals. There's a ton of teams. They've already played 8 games. Like, the OJBLL is already on the way. You have Six Nation Rebels are 8-0 right now, and you got the Thunder at 8-0 as well. Guelph is 6-1. Kawartha Hunters are 5-3. Prince Edward Pacers are 5-2. Orangeville Northmen are 4-2. St. Catherine's Athletics are 4-2. Halton Hill Bulldogs are 4-1. Ironheads are 4-1. Barrie Bombers are 4-2. Hamilton Bengals are 3-3. Mimico Mountaineers are 3-3. Neopin Knights are 3-3 as well as the Aurelia Kings. London Blue Devils are 3-4. Wallsburg Red Devils are 3-5. Cambridge Highlanders are 2-2. Owen Sound North Stars are 2-4. Windsor Clappers are 2-6. Gloucester Griffins are 1-5. Green Gales are 1-4. Newmarket Redbirds are 1-3. Brampton Excelsiors are 1-5. And the Welland Raiders are 0-9 to start the season. Not great to start the season, I'll tell you that. That's not a great start. Let's just quickly, I'm going to go for points right now. You already have Guelph. Guelph's player is leading the league right now. Ben Morton with 54 points. killing it, dude. Averaging 6.75 points per game. Okay, why? I guess is this like a warm up for him? Alex Morier is second with 49. Caleb Powless is 48 points. Chance Cogan is 42, as well as Carter McKay with a star beside his name. So I'm not really sure what that means, but he's got 42 points as well. And then Josh Manning has 40. So then we'll pick up from there. So there's the OJB. So the OJB is already on, and so everything's just starting to really get going now. So I went through everything there. I think I hit everything that I wanted to. So with that being said, guys, if you're still listening along after all that, I really appreciate it. Love you guys. Go give all the socials a follow. Give all the socials a follow. Enjoy the Discord, all that kind of stuff. Hopefully this wasn't, this is kind of going to be, if you guys don't like this format, let me know. It is long. I will say that it is long. I might have to break it up, and I don't know. I think once the NLL is over, it'll be okay. It's just because I'm still doing the NLL, and it's a long podcast with the interview and stuff like that. It's long. I get it. I'm gonna listen to it though, and if you're still here, leave me a comment, because like if you're still listening at this point, I love you the most. With that being said, thank you again, Jake Henhawk, for being on. I will keep bringing you guys content. I'm gonna keep pumping this content out, and I love you guys. But with all that being said, my name is Jake MacDonald. I'm Anything Lacrosse, and this game never sits still. We will talk to you guys next time. Stay tuned for a Field Lacrosse podcast, which is going to be coming out probably Friday. So check you guys later.